Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Nevermore Nerds podcast. It is I, your favorite bard, your 3 times undefeated king of games. Joined today by everyone's favorite DD Dareinger.
So we're just gonna ignore the fact that I beat you?
Well, I mean that's an unsanctioned tournament. I mean, like it was just kind of like a for funsies thing. So I mean, it doesn't count. You you you,
History's doomed to repeat itself, Bard.
you got to bring your A game on the 29th when we're gonna have our fourth monthly tournament because last time didn't count.
Soon to be champion DDD Derringer.
Soon to be champion DDD Dareinger. We are also joined by Brother Gamma, another contender for the King of Games title.
I completely disagree with you that you are undefeated. Both of you are going to go down on the
Well, let me
29th.
tell you something, Gamma. The cream of the crop always rises to the top.
So I want to say hello to the people who are watching. We have Cat Lionheart, who is also competing against everyone to try to claim the King of Games title. I don't think that Cat really cares if he gets it. I think Cat just wants to have a good time. We also have a Sky Storm Song who literally just said, "I'm taking the title." And PA Nightmares is here, so I want to say, welcome, traveler, to this, our realm of nevermore nerdiness. I'm just having fun mimicking PA's intros these days. Ever since the last time when he said, "Hey, I need you to give me my what's up," and I was like, and I thought that he was asking me to mimic his intro, so I was like, okay, let's do this. So today, what we're doing is I challenged Dare and Gamma to give me their top 10 list for favorite video games. I've done something like this before with PA Nightmares and 242, where we basically went through our favorite TV shows and we ranked them top 10. And we're doing basically the same thing, only this time we're doing it with video games. So Dare and Gamma gave me their top 10 list. And it was really interesting because as I was telling them just now before we started, I was like, I could, like, whenever you guys sent me your list, I was like, I could see your personalities in your lists 100%. I'm like, I recognize that this is Dare's list and this is Gamma's list. And I'm looking at my list and being like, what does this say about me? I don't know. So Cat says,
We will determine that.
we will determine that. Cat says, I am correct. He's just looking to have some fun. And he agrees that Sky is going to win. So you guys have a lot of fighting to get done before you can take down the undefeated King of Games, the Midnight Bard. But why don't we just let's hop on in and let's give our top tens list. And I'm gonna go ahead and go first and reveal my top 10 pick. It is YuGiOh 5D's Stardust Accelerator World Championship 2009. This was the game that taught me to play Yu-Gi-Oh well. It was on the 3DS, and it basically taught me, like, hey, you know what? This is how chains work. This is how timing works. This is when you miss the timing, and synchro summoning is supposed to be a lot simpler than you're making it out to be. And also, it had what's it called? A single player campaign where you got to make your custom character, and it just threw you into the world of 5Ds. You made your own speed runner, your own duel runner, and I gotta say, unlike the guy who suggests to do strip poker at a party, speed duels absolutely fuck. And this was fun.
What?
You heard me. Speed, what's it called? Turbo duels, absolutely fuck. This was fun. Basically, it had a counter, right? So every turn that passed, you would get a different speed counter on the Speed World field spell. And whenever you maxed out your counters, it allowed you to use some really broken cards for free, right? So like you didn't have Raigeki, you didn't have like Monster Reborn, Dark Hole, or anything like that in a speed duel. But if you put like 10 counters on Speed World, it would just add Raigeki to your hand, you know? So it ended up being this thing where like, who's getting more speed counters? Is it your opponent or is it you? And if your opponent's getting more speed counters, he's gonna use a broken card on you. But if you can manage to get the advantage and get more speed counters on Speed World for yourself, you can actually kind of change the tide of battle really easily. I was like, this type of dueling absolutely fucks. This is great.
That sounds actually good.
It's a lot of fun. If you guys have a 3DS lying around and can get a copy of Stardust Accelerator, I 100% recommend it.
Well, when you said the name, I was like, that's a very like portable PlayStation-esque type name.
Yeah, right?
Like there's no way that a name that has like 34 words in it is not for like a Nintendo DS or something.
Yes. I had it during my freshman year of college, and up until then, I was bad at YuGiOh. I loved the game. I'd been playing it since 2002, but in 2009, I was still terrible at it. But whenever I got Stardust Accelerator, I was like, I see what's happening, because it was the first game that I ever had, like, where it wasn't like Forbidden Memories, where it just taught you how to play wrong. This was like the game that held your hand. It's like, look, see this? This is called a chain link, and you've been fucking them up your entire life. I'm like, oh, I see. Also, honest, super broken in this game. Like, if you had Light Warriors or anything, just play honest. Like,
I hate that card so much. It's so good, but I hate it.
So according to PA Nightmares, he is my #1 fan, and he challenges anyone to fight him. So,
I'm gonna leave, and I gotta go to Pennsylvania.
All right, there.
Okay, Dare, let us know how that
dirty.
goes. Okay, so Gamma, why don't you hit us with your number 10?
My number 10, based on the list I sent you.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get a refresher of it.
Okay.
I was gonna say, if we have to do this, I need to pull up the list that I sent you because I don't even remember what I said.
You guys don't have your lists on you?
No, it's
Moment.
hey, you told me 10 games. I like a lot of games.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it now. I got it.
All right, so
But I got the list now, though.
Okay, well, in that case, 3, 2, 1, whoever gets it first, let's go.
My number 10 is Disgaea 4.
Disgaea 4. Now,
Disgaea.
you got to tell us about this, because the only thing I've heard about Disgaea is that it's a RTS, kind of like well, not like a real-time strategy, but it's like a tactical strategy RPG, and I heard that a lot of people quit Disgaea because it's hard.
Well, I put a lot of hours, and I got nowhere. But the thing is, it's fun. It's just fun.
Yeah? Well,
Yeah, the premises is there's this guy, the one that you're seeing right now on the screen right now. He supposedly is the smartest guy with over 1 million IQ. But he's working his way to be the best demon king there is. The items that you get there are ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
You even use bubble gum, ABC gum. Yeah, and you all know what ABC gum means.
Right.
That's one of your items that you equip. And I'm like, well, this is interesting. And then there's this crazy penguins that keep calling you bro, but they're either good to have on your team, or they're your worst nightmare if you go against them, because they pull some crazy combos.
Mm-hmm. So they're like the chickens from The Legend of Zelda?
Oh, yeah. But they talk shit back to you.
So basically, what I'm hearing here is that it is a little bit of a complicated game, but it has a fantastic sense of humor.
Yes, that's the best part.
Okay.
It has a great sense of humor. There's also a phone game that is for free of Disgaea.
Mm-hmm.
Disgaea. I tried playing it. It's okay, but I don't like the fact that you gotta play gacha to get some certain cards.
Oh, it's like Fire Emblem Heroes where you have to like do the gacha to get your different units.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's so annoying.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I want my card. I want this guy because I made an attachment with him playing this game. That's why I want him. No. You're gonna need to get an SR to get him.
That sucks. I hate it when games do that. Whenever you're invested in a franchise too, because like I can't tell you how much effort I put into getting Swimsuit Dorothea from Fire Emblem and Fire Emblem Heroes. I was like, come on, hit me with it. So like whenever I got like Swimsuit Byleth instead, and I was like, that's okay. I like that. I'm good with that.
Yeah, and there's also some events that happen on the mobile version.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a guy that changes gender and becomes a hot girl, but he's stuck there until you get the right wish to get him back.
Yeah.
Because get him like that as a character.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that is annoying about it is that it's like that whole thing that you need 10 items to go to the next level, and then you need actually less items, like 3 items to go to the next level, and more items for you to go to the next level, and so on. That's the annoying part.
Yeah. I mean, I can see how that would be kind of frustrating. Every game has like its systems. I feel like you're cool with. Like these are really innovative, really cool. But they also have a tendency to have like at least one system where you're like, what's even the point of this? And I'm pretty sure that we're gonna get into that with some other games later on in the list, because I saw some choices on y'all's list where I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna ask about this thing because I know that a lot of players hated that.
Oh my. Okay, that's enough about my game. I'm curious about Dare.
All right, Dare, you want to tell us your number 10?
Yeah, my number 10, it's not a singular game, but it is the Metal Slug series.
Oh!
This game brings war flashbacks to me, no pun intended, because like I always felt I always felt it was hard. Like it was extremely difficult.
Oh yeah, it's like even you can buy it on Steam like really cheap and get like all of the Metal Slug games. But even like being older now, because this was like we would go to Pizza Hut and they had this as an arcade game that you could play.
Right.
And it was just the most difficult game.
I remember.
It's still difficult.
Dude, like I spent so many quarters trying to get good at Metal Slug whenever it was in arcades. We used to have an arcade at the mall. And I just kept getting frustrated. I was like, this game is too hard. This sucks. And of course, like it's back in those days whenever, like you're just a kid. So like your parents give you like a handful of quarters to go play in the arcade. And I'm like, I'd be back like literally within like 10 minutes, be like, all gone. And they'd be like, what? We gave you like $5 worth of quarters. I was like, that game is a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, that was literally the walk of shame, like having to walk back to your like table where your parents were and be like, I need more quarters because I lost within the first 20 seconds of playing the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah,
I still love like you would get the upgrade and the guy would just be like rocket launcher.
Yeah.
And just like blow up the whole screen, and it was amazing and fun and great game series.
Yeah, and absolutely, like I do recall like there was a couple of times whenever by sheer luck, I guess, I got like pretty far in a level and you would get like the upgrades and you'd be like, okay, now I feel like an absolute badass, only to be killed like instantly. Oh man, like Metal Slug, I have like those weird feelings for because it's one of those games that was like super hard, and like it was between it and Battletoads. Like those two games just like were my arcade nightmare. Like I wanted to be good at them, but I suck so hard.
Okay, let me ask you on Battletoads. Do you mean the motorcycle part or afterwards?
No, the motorcycle part was terrible, man. Like I had nightmares of the motorcycle part. I was like, wow, why would they do this to children? It was just
Then you watch like a speedrunner play it and not like mess up at all, and you're just like, you have too much time on your hands to
No
be able to
kidding.
do this and not fail.
Now, I say that, but there are games like later on in my list where like it's the same level of difficulty, but the thing is, I don't know why. I guess the controls just jived with me better because all of a sudden I could do it no problem, you know. So we'll get to that. But number 9, Metal Slug for Dare. Let's head on to sorry, number 10 for Dare. We're gonna head to my number 9, which is Kingdom Hearts 2.
Mm.
That's the one with the Mickey Mouse.
That's the one with the Mickey Mouse. In my opinion, the best Kingdom Hearts. And I will fight anyone who says otherwise because Kingdom Hearts 1 was good. It took some getting used to on my behalf because I thought that the mix of Final Fantasy and Disney was dumb. So, you know, I had to get pretty far into the game before I was like, this is awesome. Well, who came up with this? They need a raise or something. This is amazing. Yeah, I had issues with some of the character design. I always felt like the main character, Sora, kind of looked like Ronald McDonald with the red jumpsuit and the big clown shoes. Uh, they,
That is the point. It's a cross promotion.
yeah. They did fix it in Kingdom Hearts 2, and even in the way that the game handled, because they made him like such a freaking badass. Like, you know, he has like the different drive forms which change his battle style. So like the brave form makes him an all-out melee combatant, like no magic, but like his combos are just insane. Like his wisdom form like gives him all the magic, so he's like not really good like up close, but man, from far away you can snipe enemies day and night. And like a master form, which is kind of like a mix of the two, but final form, which was like insane because it's like you like long combos, kid, because you're gonna be here for 16 minutes while you kick some ass. And I was like, hell yeah, let's go. uh, Here's the one thing about Kingdom Hearts 2, or well, Kingdom Hearts in general, that I don't like is that the story seems like it's there. Like they tell you there's a story, but this story makes absolutely no goddamn sense. And you basically have to become a devoted scholar of Kingdom Hearts to understand what the hell is happening, because it's like they bring up so much shit that it's like, so wait, when was this a thing? And they're like, oh, it's off screen in like the mobile game that we released in Japan only, so you know you would have no way of knowing about it. Okay, so who's this character? Well, you'll remember there was a mysterious character who showed up for like a fraction of a cutscene back in like 3 games ago. It turns out that this one was them. I was like, okay, so what are they planning? Oh, well, you see, it goes back to millions of years ago when the first Keyblade War happened, but we haven't told you about that yet because that doesn't come out for another 4 games. So I'm like, this game is so frustrating to make sense of. But it is a really fun action RPG, and it has, I want to say it has a sense of humor. It really doesn't. But but you get to fight some of your favorite Disney characters. I was like, I always wanted to know if I could beat Hercules' ass, and the truth is, I can.
My question is, can you beat Sephiroth?
Man, Sephiroth took me 2 tries. Like the first time I was like, okay, that was hard, but then the second time I was like, oh wait, he's not that hard. I got him. Like the only time that he ever gave you trouble was whenever he did the supernova, because it was hard as hell to dodge all that damage coming in. But the thing is, I found out in Kingdom Hearts 2 that there was like this safe zone where it's like, hey, jump up here and keep double jumping, and it's going to be really hard for any of those things to hit you. They still might, but you'll get hit maybe once compared to how much you would get hit if you just tried to dodge around the rest of the stage, you know? So, yeah, Sephiroth was hard. He was fun. I thought that, like, after Kingdom Hearts 2, I was like, you know what? Give us a different secret boss than Sephiroth, because, I mean, Square Enix has, like, thousands of games. Give us a different, you know, hidden boss. You know, Sephiroth's okay, but, like, I want to see somebody else. Like, I don't know, like, maybe Kuja from Final Fantasy IX, the guy who nuked an entire universe. You know, I'm like, yeah, let me fight him. But
The
that's
only problem I had with Kingdom Hearts is they literally have proven that Donald is the like strongest white mage,
true. He
and
knows
Donald
Seda
was
Flare.
terrible. He was not good because he just would never heal.
Yes, that's true. Like I'm sitting here like dying. I'm like on the red with like the alarms blaring, and Donald's over here healing Goofy, who's at full health. I'm like, what the fuck is your problem with me, Donald? Like,
I don't like you.
basically, I'm like, what is your fucking problem? But so yeah, like they did absolutely confirm that Donald is the strongest white mage. He knows Seda Flare, which he used to one shot one of the main villains from the series in Kingdom Hearts 3. I was like, what the fuck? Uh, the one thing is, I don't consider Kingdom Hearts 3 to be canon because that game was a phenomenal disappointment. Like, it was it was bad. Cat Lionheart says, "Let's fight with Tifa." Yes, let's. I'm not gonna
Oh,
elaborate on that. But let's head on to Brother Gamma's number 9.
my number 9 will be. Oh shoot!
I'm already showing it. I have it as Samurai Showdown 4.
I was gonna say that.
Okay, great.
I was gonna say Samurai Showdown 4. I'm gonna piggyback of what Dare said earlier,
Mhm.
because I also did had a Pizza Hut with an arcade that had Metal Slug and Samurai Showdown 4. I went every time on my lunch
Mhm.
from school to that Pizza Hut. I had to cut up my lunch, eat a crappier lunch, but damn it, I will play my Samurai Showdown game.
This is the fighting game, right? With like Haomaru and
Yeah,
yes.
um,
I know this one tangentially from like Capcom versus SNK, who had Haomaru and Nikaruru and them.
oh, this was the game. They had Kazuki Kasama. That's one of my go-to guy besides Haomaru,
Mm-hmm.
because I like the fact that he was a fire guy,
Yeah.
and he has two. You get two different ultimates with the characters. One of them is close range,
Mhm.
which if you are able to hit the enemy, it's gonna do certain amount of damage. Plus, they lose their weapon,
Mm-hmm.
and the goal is keep them away from their weapon. Once they lose it, keep them away, because if they get it, oh, you're gonna get hurt so badly.
Wow.
Depending on the enemy.
So you could disarm characters in this game?
Yep, using your ultimate.
That's fucking awesome. That is. How come no other fighting game has ever done this? I always feel like this would have been like a great Soul Calibur technique. You know, like disarm your opponent.
And all it takes is for you to fill up your bar to a certain limit and press down 4 buttons and down. That's all it takes for your ultimate.
That sounds awesome. Like,
yeah, and one of the moves from Haomaru
Mhm.
that he does on the SNK game is actually one of his specials, which is the long range version. That is I believe it's called the full moon attack.
Yeah.
It just goes on the screen like 1, 2, 3, and then the fourth one, he just slices you all the way up. And once you see that count, those combo moves going up like 14, 15, and 30, that's awesome.
Yeah. I remember Haomaru was one of my favorite characters in Capcom versus SNK because he would do so much damage. Like he had like a not like a charge up attack, but it was kind of like a wind up sword slash, like a heavy sword slash that would just cut like a quarter of an enemy's health with one hit. I was like, ooh. I was like, there's no other character in this game that does that. That's insane.
Same thing over here on this one. And at the end, if you actually pull off a good battle against your opponent, it gives you the option to finish them.
Neat. Mortal Kombat style?
You just gotta pull the move, the You just gotta push the buttons that it tells you,
Mhm.
and you would just finish them. With Kazuki, he would just shoot a giant fireball at you,
Mhm.
which will decimate half of your body off.
Oof.
With Haomaru, you do the same slash that you were just talking about,
Mhm.
and it will cut the enemy in half.
Holy
And some
crap.
and sometimes whenever you're fighting and you do such a strong damage on the enemy, it will skip all that and it will show the enemy being cut in half as they're falling down from a jump attack. Like, shh.
According to Cat Lionheart, he loves the chick with the pet falcon and wolf from Samurai Showdown.
Yes, but I like my guy with the puppy. It's just amazing.
Yeah, Galford, I think was his name.
Yes,
Yes,
Alfred.
I know him. Yeah. There was like a Samurai Showdown anime movie that came out a long time ago, and I had it on DVD, and I was like, I love this. This is great. I'm just so terrible at fighting games.
But you can check it out. I believe they got the anthology as well.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, I
Nice.
don't play the last one because it's annoying. They cut off your ultimate combo. There's a combo that if you pull it off just right,
Mhm.
you could kill your opponent.
Huh.
But you gotta be able to put that input to the dot. If you mess up, well, good luck trying to pull it up again.
Oh, that sucks. But it is a what's it called? An interesting mechanic where it's like, hey, 100% you can one shot your opponent, but you have to be precise. It like adds like a level of skill and kind of like a bit of pressure on your opponent to make sure that they can keep you occupied, so that way you can't pull that off.
That is correct.
All right, Dare, what is your number 9?
Obviously, the only Yu-Gi-Oh game that actually teaches you how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist of the Rose.
Oh snap!
Please elaborate, because I get the feeling that that Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist of the Roses does not teach you how to play Yu-Gi-Oh!
It teaches you how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And chess and life.
And like,
It was like the one of the first PlayStation 2 games when I actually bought my PlayStation. And I just played the shit out of this game. It was so fun to just like go and play against the same people and then have that slot machine at the end where you could win your cards and then you could like fuse those cards together to get different cards. And I remember distinctly that I ran it was Machine King
Mhm.
is the deck I chose to play, and it is just solely because you could like play Tin Soldier, and like half these cards were like normal monsters that had effects for some reason, but like Tin Soldier you would flip them up, and then all your machines would gain attack, and they had like the field bonuses and stuff from like Duelist Kingdom, so it was the furthest thing from being Yu-Gi-Oh, but still being Yu-Gi-Oh.
So it was kind of like a tactical thing, like you wanted your units to be in certain terrain that was beneficial to them.
Okay, so you had a deck leader
Mm-hmm.
that you can move around the map. It was like a king. And then you had your cards, which you could play spell cards and trap cards and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they worked as spell cards and trap cards would. But then your monsters, you would summon them and they worked like chess pieces where you could like move them around the map. And you had like a certain amount of squares you can move. And your goal was to get to the opponent's deck leader and deal your, I don't remember if it was 4,000 or 8,000 damage. But there's so many like memorable battles. Like Yuki's grandpa was in a like a maze, and you had to get to him before he summoned Exodia.
Yeah.
and then you had like Pegasus, who he had his deck leader, and it was on like a field of Toon World, and the tunes worked like they do in the anime, where you can't attack them if they're in Toon World.
Huh.
And it was different, and it was not your typical Yu-Gi-Oh game, and that's why I think it stuck with me so much, is because it was not Yu-Gi-Oh, but it was Yu-Gi-Oh.
That that sounds like a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie. Did they put this one on GameCube too?
I would be surprised if they didn't, because it was like, that's one of the Yu-Gi-Oh games that like everyone knows of from their childhood.
Let me take a quick look. I gotta know because I have a GameCube, and if it is on GameCube, I'm gonna buy it. No, PlayStation 2 only. Ah, dang it. Do I have a PlayStation? I think I might. Because I want to try this. That sounds like fun.
Like I said, it there's a reason why it made the list,
Mm.
and it was like I told you, 2 a.m. just had the epiphany that I could put PlayStation games on here, and that there was no way in hell that that was not going on the list.
Yeah, because that sounds amazing. Like if I'm picturing it correctly, it's almost like Warhammer meets Yu-Gi-Oh.
In a way, yes.
That sounds like fun. I gotta try that, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like that sounds exciting. Let's see.
I'll tell you, if you ever do find it and play it, if you want an easy game,
Hmm.
do Plants and Zombies, because you can. It's kind of like Forbidden Memories, where it's you fuse two things together
Hmm.
and hope. But if you fuse like a level 4 zombie with a plant, you get Pumpkin, the King of Ghosts, and you just set him in defense, and then just every turn gain attack and defense on your zombies.
Oh,
It
that's
just
awesome.
breaks the game.
All right, excellent tip. I'm gonna have to do that. We're gonna move on to my number 8, and everyone in the chat, sound off if you think this is the pinnacle of gaming for your PlayStation 3. It is Uncharted 2: Among Thieves.
I agree.
That is a good game, yeah.
That is an excellent game. This I love Uncharted, man. Like I remember, okay, I had never played like a shooter like that I liked, so like I tried Halo, like my girlfriend at the time had Halo and she was all about it. I didn't like it. And I tried like the Call of Duties that came out, and I just did, it was kind of like whatever. But Uncharted is kind of that. It's a third person shooter, so it's not the same thing, but the element of adventure in it, where you're like the main character is Indiana Jones technically, and you're just going around like collecting artifacts and trying to stop the plot for some evil person who wants like that big end game MacGuffin, which in Uncharted 2 it was like the Chintamani stone, which gave the person who possessed it like eternal life or something. I don't remember. Uh, but man, I remember that last fight against the guy once he was holding the stone was fucking insane. And the set pieces make you feel like you're in an action movie. Uncharted 2 starts off with you in a train that's hanging off a cliff, and you've been shot, and you have to climb out before the train before the train falls off the abyss. I was like, this is crazy. It was also like the one where you're on top of a train trying to shoot down a helicopter, and it's just like, what is happening? This
I was
game,
gonna ask if that was the one where you start in a train.
this is the one,
Yeah.
yes. Uncharted 2, man, was crazy. There was just like all kinds of crazy stuff, and like you do feel kind of like a badass as you're progressing through it. It's just kind of like take down a train. You're running through a village as a tank is decimating it, and you have a rocket launcher, and you got like 6 shots. Make it count, and it's just what the hell is happening in this game? Uh, I haven't played the third installment. I played Uncharted 1 and Uncharted 2. I have the collection, but I haven't finished it. I'm going to have to get on that. But yeah, like as far as I remember Uncharted very fondly, and Uncharted 2 for me was the best one. I'll have to play the other ones to find out.
I believe there was one also on the PS Vita.
There was. I do think that there was one on PS Vita. Uh, I think that's the one where Chloe was the main character, like the girl that Nate is involved with. Yeah. PA Nightmare says Uncharted series is amazing. Cat Lionheart disagrees, says that Lara makes for a better Indiana Jones for reasons. And I I had I had the Tomb Raider reboot on my list, and I had to cut it because, as I was telling Dare and Gamma, that I had so many games that the way that I started quantifying which ones I liked better than others was which one have I replayed, and I replayed Uncharted like 7 times. The Tomb Raider reboot, I keep wanting to replay it while doing a live stream for it, so I keep putting it off because I keep getting busy. So I haven't done it yet, but that one was on my list too. I thought that remaking Lara Croft as a kind of like, instead of like a super spy type personality, making her like a really gritty survivor was brilliant, and the final boss fight in that one was freaking amazing too. So I enjoyed that one, but Uncharted had to take the top 8 spot for me. PA Nightmare says the part in the first Uncharted when he jumped from a plane with a parachute that is on fire, or shot up and he yells "crap, crap, crap, crap" over and over. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. Is as Nate, you never feel like he meant to do this. You know, he meant to be badass. It's always kind of like he's accidentally. Like landing on these situations where he's like, "Oh, I am about to die" the entire time, but he just doesn't, which makes it all the better.
It's just your normal everyday like average Joe who just gets put in these awful situations on accident,
Right, and just by
but
some
ends up being a
miracle,
badass.
exactly, by some miracle, he doesn't die. All right, brother Gamma, you're up next. You're number 8.
My number 8 will be the Neo franchise, but that's the thing, it's tough to go between Neo 1 and Neo 2. And the only reason why it's so low is due to the damn patches.
The patches?
Yes, the patches ruined the game.
Oh no.
They say, hey, we're going to balance the game. No, you broke the game. The bills that were there for a reason, and now they're useless.
So, what exactly did they patch, and how did it break the game?
Well, whenever they go for patching, before the patches, you actually got a good set of, like, if you got a good set of armor and a good set of weapons, you were set.
Mm-hmm.
You could pull good moves and combos and be a good match against both real life opponents on PvP or the boss monsters.
Okay.
After patches, that 3 or 4 digit damage that you were able to do went down to either 3 or 2 digit damage.
Oof. So they were patching it to make it harder, or like what was their idea there?
Yeah. A bunch of people complaining that the game without patch was broken and unplayable, especially with PvP, because I believe on this game they allow people to invade your world. And if they invade your world and you die, you lose all this XP that you got on you.
Oh, that's
Keep that in mind. If you die, you lose your XP, and you gotta work your ass all the way to where your XP was to get it back.
Yeah. So let me take a look here, because I feel like Neo is kind of like Dark Souls, but it's not made by From Software, is it? No, it's made by Team Ninja and Koei.
Yep, it's not by From Software, but it feels like, think of Dark Souls and Onimusha.
I love both of those games.
Yep, that was Neo before the patches.
After the patches, what would you compare it to?
That's why it's so darn low.
Oh no.
After the patches, it's Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, it's like this is not worth it. This is not worth the grind.
That sucks. I hate to hear it. I mean, because like this is one of those games that's sitting on my library, and because I'm always busy, I haven't had a chance to play it. And it sucks to hear that, you know, like it's just that it could have been better. You know, like I bet you it's still good, but it sucks to hear that it could have been better. You know?
It's good, and the lore with it is unique in its own way.
Yeah.
You on the first one, you play a guy named William,
Mm-hmm.
and you start off just fine. Like, hey, it's Spaniards in here.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be like Resident Evil 4. I might get a hint or two when the Spaniards talk Spanish, and I know what the hell to watch for.
Yes, right. That's one of the beautiful things that whenever you know a language that they don't expect you to know, is that you're picking it up as you go.
Yep. But sadly, it wasn't like that.
Oh, okay,
You
that
get
sucks.
you get thrown to an island that has yokai in it.
Uh-huh.
At first, they don't explain how the yokai are made.
Mhm.
Neo 2 explains it. They say, hey, if a person has too much grief or too much of a desire to stay in this world, they become a yokai if they die. Depending on what kind of desire it is, it will be either a good yokai or a bad yokai.
That sounds really good. And you know me, like I am 100% into like Japanese folklore. That's my jam. So I'm excited to play this whenever I finally get around to it.
If you want to see the most yokai and have better weapons, I will suggest Neo 2.
Okay.
Because Neo 2 gives you an option to transform.
Into a yokai?
Yes.
Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Let's do
Yeah,
it.
which is a feeling like, okay, this gives me the Onimusha vibes right here.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
And
and we will speak of Onimusha later on in this list.
yeah, it gives you the option to be a close range yokai, which is a melee.
Yeah.
The long range yokai, which is long range, you throw spells at your enemy.
Mhm.
Or the tactical yokai, which specializes in dodging.
Interesting. Okay. Like dodging and stealth or just dodging?
You'll be able to dodge some of the worst damage there is.
Gotcha. So kind of like a rogue build.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just amazing whenever you pull it off, especially because you don't have to fully transform at times. You can use a counter
Mhm.
of your yokai form to really punish those enemies.
Interesting. I am looking forward to playing that. So, Dare, what is your number 8?
Number 8 is the Crash Bandicoot series.
Whoop whoop. Crash Bandicoot, the
Woo!
original mascot for PlayStation.
Which I'm including like all the Crash Bandicoot games when I say series, like not just your Crash Bandicoot 1, 2, and 3, but we're gonna do like Crash Team Racing and like the spin-off of Mario Party that they did, and I love the Crash Bandicoot dude.
Never played a single Crash Bandicoot, believe it or not.
Why? Why?
The stream's over. I'm kicking Bart off the stream.
Let's go there. Let's go.
Like, we're
Join
gonna
us
go
next week for the Nevermore Nerds, featuring your host Gamma Akutabi and Dareinger.
No, it's not. It wasn't like an on purpose thing. It's just, you know, like at the time, you know, like I couldn't afford a PlayStation, so it was kind of like you know, yeah, everyone else is playing Crash Bandicoot, and meanwhile here I am, you know, replaying Sonic 3 for like the 19th time.
Yeah, Crash Bandicoot was like PlayStation's version of Mario in a way. It was like a 3D platformer that, like, there's so many different levels that stick out to me. Like, there's a level with a rope bridge, which is infamous because in the PlayStation 2, hitboxes were a lot bigger, so you could just jump on the side rope and walk along the rope. In the remake, which came out like 2 years ago, the hitboxes are more accurate.
Oh.
So jumping on like an actual like rope-sized rope is a lot more difficult, and you can't just jump on it and run. So they made the game a lot harder in that sense, because the rope bridges, there's like enemies that'll hit you off of it. There's planks that'll fall out from underneath you and you'll die. And like there's just a lot of stuff that the remake made more difficult, and in a way, like it simulates playing it as a kid, because it was hard to play as a kid. And then now it's hard because they've updated it to be an actual like modern day-esque game.
I have to ask you about that. So, like, how do you feel about like game franchises doing that? Like, you know, they're basically growing up with their audience. So, like, this game that used to be kind of like a kid's game, super easy, has been updated to be a modern platformer, so it's a little more complicated. I think they did the same thing with Spyro just a little while ago.
Yes, the Spyro and the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogies both came out at the same time, the remakes for them. And it honestly, like, it depends on how long you wait. Spyro and them, those were like early 2000s, late 90s games.
Yeah.
So remaking them 20 years later, there's still a fan base around those games. Those are games that you still see them all the time at like SGDQ and AGDQ and stuff.
Right.
So there's still like a very good fan base. And then you also have the people who just played them as a kid that you're saying, hey, here's your childhood back. But it has a fresh coat of paint, and the controls are better than working a tank.
I personally am a fan of that. I love it when they give me my childhood back with an updated interface.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's like the easiest money you could have is like a big game corporation is taking an old asset, like freshening it up and not having to change anything about it.
Oh, yeah.
Because like I said, the Crash Bandicoot game, the remake, is phenomenal. And the reason why it is because it's the same game. It's just modern graphics, and the gameplay has been like tweaked to actually be more accurate, which makes it harder and more fun, in my opinion. But
I like it.
Yeah,
I'm all for it. All right, we're moving on to my number 7 pick. All right, and this one's going to be a controversial one, and I'll explain why after I reveal it. Number 7 is Overwatch.
What?
Guys, I love Overwatch and I hate Overwatch. Like, it is one of those games that I put so much time into because I was a fan, and like I said before, I wasn't a fan of shooters growing up. And most of that was because I would get motion sickness from like the first person POV. But for some reason, Overwatch's bright colors made it seem so cartoony that it didn't do that to me, you know. So I could play Overwatch and I would have zero problems. Also, I like the big cast of characters. I like all their varying moves. I like the team mechanics. But I also hate the big cast of characters. I hate all the varying moves, and I hate all the team mechanics. Because I gotta tell you, like, it's one of those things where, like, you know, whenever you're really good at a game, but you're not good enough to be a professional, but you're too good to play with your friends, is exactly where I'm at in Overwatch. I can jump on a game in Overwatch, and depending on the team that I get, we will either have a really good time or I'm gonna be stuck babysitting for the next 10 minutes. I usually play tank, which makes this all the worse, because it is my responsibility to keep my team alive, but not everybody joins in on a game with the same mindset as like what somebody else would, you know. So some people are there to just like they just want to shoot people, you know. and some people are there and they want to win fights, or they want to, just kind of like grind up, or like, some people just even join just to throw, basically to throw a game. So you want to kind of like rein people in as much as you can. Just, like, I'm not gonna tell you how to play the game, but like, if you want to win the game, there are some practices that you should be employing. For example, when your tank has his shield up, it's smart to be behind him. whenever you're a healer, it's not smart to engage on a 1v1. It isn't. And that's kind of the problems that I have with Overwatch, is that the game is fantastic and I love it. It's the player base that can kind of become problematic. But yeah, my favorite character is Reinhardt, and that's who I play like 90% of the time. I love the fact that he's big and does a lot of damage, and he can tank a hit pretty easily. And there is nothing more fun than doing your rocket dash and pinning someone to a wall. That is fun. And I should mention that I love doing the Earth Shatter whenever I get the entire enemy team. Just do what we professional Reinhardt players call a fatty shatty. Uh, it is excellent. So I do enjoy the game a lot. I would say besides Reinhardt, probably my favorite characters to play is Mercy. I love being a healer more than I like being a tank, but I find that we win more often when I'm the tank, and I don't know why that is. Maybe I just suck as a healer. Maybe I'm just really good as a tank. Who knows? But yeah, that's my number. That's my number 7.
As a Mercy main, I have to disagree with you. The healer's job is to do DPS. If you don't kill at least 4 people within 10 seconds of me healing you and damage buffing you, I am pulling out my pistol and I am going to do the damage.
So you're one of those battle mercies.
Like, if I'm having a bad day, then yes. But like, I used to main Lucio and Mercy, and I was in Platinum in season like 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And it's just they made so many changes to my boy Lucio that
They did.
Like, I can't play this anymore. I can't play like competitively.
Did
anymore.
you hear about the experimental change that they made to Lucio? Like, they were testing it to see how they liked it, so they patched it into the game. Where now whenever he drops the beat for his ultimate, right?
Yeah.
Right. Now if you ult and as you're dropping, if you land on an enemy, you one-shot them.
What?
I'm going to start playing Overwatch again just to do gimmicky stuff like that.
Yeah, like it was the entire fan base for a second was like, he could do what? It was like, I don't know if they patched it out or not, but like for a while, whenever they said they were doing that, like the fan base was like, I like this, and a lot of other people were like, no, you mean that all he needs to do is ult on top of the enemy tank, and that enemy tank is null? I'm like, that is beautiful, and in my personal opinion, it made Lucio like really hilarious to play.
This is the world that I want to live in, because it's like in TF2, the soldier having the market gardener, which is it's just a shovel. So you're supposed to like use your rocket launcher to jump around the map, and then this shovel, the market gardener, gets bonus damage if you are falling down and hit somebody. It's a guaranteed crit, which is a one shot for most people. So you just have people like jumping around the map, and then they just land on you and hit you in the head with this shovel, and you die.
It's basically what's happening here. I have to say, I used to like Overwatch a lot more whenever there wasn't so many flying enemies, because back in the day you had Pharah and that's it. So if you had a dedicated DPS who could hit the Pharah, no problem. But now they have Echo, and Echo is annoying. I hate Echo so much because she is a tank bane. Like, she's got like those sticky explosives that'll stick to your shield and just like melt it. I hate that. And I also hate that her ultimate allows her to copy any of the enemy team, and any of the enemy team with an accelerated ult gauge. So if she copies your diva, she can probably nuke 3 or 4 times before her ult runs out.
Nerf this.
Exactly. That's what I'm like. You need to nerf Echo because I hate her. I was like, I do not like Echo. But that's me as a tank. Well, I mean, technically, her sticky damage does a hell of a lot more damage if you're not a tank. So if I'm playing Mercy and I get hit by the Echo sticky projectiles, fuck, I'm just out, you know. But yeah, that's my number 7. So, Brother Gamma, what you got for your number 7?
Let me finish writing the notes. Play Echo against Bard.
Switch to Echo from Mercy.
Oh man, like yeah, the pharmacy combo where it was like a Pharah with a pocket Mercy is so much more frustrating when you can also do that with Echo. But yeah, number 7, Brother Gamma.
And my number 7 will be Metal Gear Revengeance.
Metal Gear. So
mind you, it's
that's
not
the one with
the
Lizard, right?
yeah, that's
with
the one with
right.
Lizard.
And when he dies, he's like, Lizard!
Yeah.
Lizard!
Yes. Anyway, you were saying?
This game has metal,
Uh-huh.
obviously.
Uh-huh.
Has swords,
Okay.
and it has speed.
I like the sound of speed.
Sadly for you, it will be motion sickness for you.
Oh, it's I see.
It may get a little too fast at times.
Okay. Well,
But
that sucks.
although the music that comes along with every fight, it makes it unique.
I have listened to a lot of Metal Gear music, and I do enjoy it. It's got like that mix between like what's it called, heavy ponderous espionage and like metal, and I dig it.
Yeah, and if you pay attention to the lyrics, they actually they hit deeper than what you think.
Yeah.
Some of them will make you go like, "Oh, this was a pain in the ass boss fight, but I don't wanna kill this boss because this song is so badass."
Yeah. I love that. You know, because here's one of the things is some of my what's it called, top numbers will be on there, mostly because it was a nostalgia game, but also because the soundtrack is one of those things that I still bop to. You know.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I love it when games have like a good soundtrack. That is one of my favorite things.
And of course, there's a dog in the game, and the dog is good. Dog is good until you find out more stuff about the dog. Then the dog feels nostalgic.
Oh, that's interesting. Like, why is that?
You might find out that they actually did some stuff to make that dog. I'll just leave it at that.
Gotcha.
Which,
It's something that harkens back to a different Metal Gear game. Is that right?
what's that?
And so they did something to the dog, like what they might have done to a different character in a different Metal Gear game.
Oh, sadly, no.
Oh, okay.
This is like its own thing.
I see. Okay.
The way he's saying it makes me think of like the Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh no!
No.
It's like,
we don't talk about that here.
We don't.
It's like Gamma. No.
Oh no! Like we don't talk about Full Metal Alchemist, dog.
Edward.
Alexander, come back to us.
Yeah.
Nina can stay gone. I didn't care so much, but Alexander. Oh man. But yeah, Metal Gear it's one of those games that like I always thought that I would enjoy because you know, like it's got stealth type situations on it, and I was a huge fan of Assassin's Creed. So you know, it's kind of like that situation because it makes you think differently about a game. You know, Most games, I love to go in guns blazing, come at me, I will fight anyone. But whenever you have to be like, hey, by the way, you're a spy, and going in and making your presence known is the last thing you want to do, you know? So I
That's
enjoy the change of pace.
that's the beautiful thing about Metal Gear Rising.
Hmm.
You could go guns blazing.
Hmm.
You best be sure
Hmm.
that you're able to back that up.
Yes, I
Or
love it.
or you could just be spy mode and sneak around and kill your enemies. And
Mm.
one of the best villains in there has the best song there is. And then you find, even though he's the biggest pain in the ass to defeat, you find out, hey, he's just a human.
Hmm. Just a.
Unlike you, which are mostly a cyborg, and he has kicked your ass how many times?
That is crazy. Like, so this is like the meme thing where like you have like that one boss from Metal Gear who's fighting. I think the guy's name is Raiden, who is the cyborg, but the dude is like
Right.
super buff.
No. That's the last boss.
Oh, okay.
That's I believe it's called the Governor.
Yes.
But the one that I'm talking about is the one that you fight with the song called, I believe, Red Sun.
Uh huh.
Or I'll send you the link for the song.
Sweet.
Little V just played it recently, and that's a pretty good song.
All right, I'll check it out. All right, Dare. You gotta hit us with your number 7, because PA's wondering why you're still at number 7 while both of us are at 6.
Well, number 7 is the game where war never changes.
Fallout.
I put the Fallout series as my number 7 pick. Fallout 3 would be my specific favorite of the series.
Sweet. Fallout is basically Skyrim in a post-apocalyptic future, right?
Fallout is Skyrim, but after the world got nuked. Yes.
Yes. Now Fallout is just a breeding ground for memes, I've noticed.
It is. It is a yes. Yes.
Yeah.
The game series itself is quite unique because the first 3 or 4 games are top-down, turn-based, like RTS-esque games,
Right.
or RPG games, not RTS. And then 3, they were just like, let's make it a first-person shooter. So from there on out, all of them are first-person shooters, and it's just it's got game mechanics that like not too many other games have. Like the VAT system is a bullet time thing, which I mean other games have bullet time, but Fallout is one that like I feel implemented bullet time before most of these games. And just like the settings of the game, you have Fallout 3, which is in the capital Wasteland, so you're in Washington D.C. You have Fallout 76, which is in Appalachia. You have Fallout 4, which is in the Commonwealth of Boston.
Boston.
And then Fallout New Vegas is obviously in California. Right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But there's so many like really good characters. The music in the game, like the music is what really sets it for me, is because they went and got a bunch of like old 1940s through like 60s esque music.
Yeah.
And the compilation they put together for the different radio stations, along with like the broadcasters for the radio stations, just it puts you in that time period.
I like that. I like the full immersion. Whenever a game can put me in the world, I'm 100% for it.
And there's so much like it's like Skyrim, like you said. You can go play through the whole game and then come back like a week, a month, a year later, play through it and find something completely different that you didn't know existed in the game.
That is the best kind of game, in my opinion. I I will get lost in game worlds, and especially when they're as sprawling as whatever Bethesda puts out, which Fallout is a Bethesda game.
Bethesda and then Obsidian.
Right.
Because I believe 1, 2, Tactics, Brotherhood, and New Vegas were all under Obsidian, and then 3, 76, and 4 were Bethesda.
Right. I love a big world. Like whenever I turn on a game, I want to get lost in the world, and Fallout is one of those that's just like, yeah, just delve in, man. You're gonna have hours of entertainment here. I've never played it myself, but I watched my wife as she struggled through one. I think she struggled through 76. I don't remember. But as she's moving through this game, I was like, wow, this is the attention to detail to some of the dumbest things. I was like, I absolutely love this.
Well, there's just like a lot of little things too that you can miss. Like in Fallout 3, there's a slaver camp
Right.
where you can go in, and slavers are just like they're raiders that steal people. Which
Right.
you can go into one of the camps, and there's a vault suit, and the vault suit has a holotape next to it. Something you could easily miss if you weren't looking for it, because nothing tells you to go look for it. Nothing. So this is just there for people who are exploring. But if you listen to the holotape, it tells you a story of this random dude who came into the slaver camp and killed like 13 people with a sock puppet.
With a sock puppet.
and the vault suit next to it, like if you read into the like lore of the vault, which you would love this because the games are just full of lore.
Right.
If you read into the lore of that vault suit, the vault experiment that was being performed on it was one guy was locked in a vault by himself with just sock puppets. And he gave all of these sock puppets like personalities, and there was like a king, and the king got murdered. The dude went crazy.
Whoa.
And then the vault opened up, so he goes around with sock puppets, and he's just known as the Puppet Man. And he killed a bunch of these bad dudes with a sock puppet.
I love it. This is awesome.
Just there's so much stuff in the games, and it's like I honestly should have put it higher than 7, but I put it at 7. So
it's hard to pick between games, man. I gotta tell you, like I said before, like I struggled to put them in the place that I did, and some of them I disagree with. I wanted to put Overwatch higher, but like it just landed where it landed. And there's a lot of them that I wish I would have put higher too, but it's just the other ones just kind of are a different speed. They hit you at different speed. For example, my number 6 is Shadow Hearts Covenant.
What is that game?
Yeah, it's a really unknown RPG for the PS2, an RPG series. This Shadow Hearts Covenant being the second one. So you had Shadow Hearts Covenant, and Shadow Hearts from the New World. And all of them were a spin-off of an old PS1 game, a survival horror PS1 game called Kodelka. So all of the games have kind of like that horror setting. You're fighting like a lot of things that go bump in the night. And your main characters have powers that are really cool, but at the same time very horrifying. So like your main character, for example, is he's what they call a fusionist. And what happens is he has demons in his mind that he can allow to take control of his body and transform him into a monster. And whenever he's in the monster state, he does a lot of damage to his opponents. And he also has like different special abilities that only his monster forms can do. But here's the thing. The game has what's called like a sanity meter. So every turn that passes, you lose sanity if you're in combat. And whenever you go all the way down on your sanity, your character just loses control and he starts behaving on his own. Regardless of what you do to try to stop them, they just kind of do whatever they want. So some characters have a lower sanity gauge than others. So like, for example, like the main girl in the game, she is not a fighter. So her sanity gauge is the lowest. She has some of the strongest magic, but you don't want to keep her in combat for too long because she will lose her shit. Um, so you're fighting demons, you're fighting sorcerers, you're fighting just monsters, and it's really really good. And here's the thing: it also isn't like a fantasy setting. It's set in World War II, or World War one of the two. And it's kind of badass, you know, because you're like fighting through different like places that really exist. Like for example, the majority of Shadow Hearts 1 takes place in Europe. Shadow Hearts 2, Shadow Hearts Covenant, takes place anywhere between like Nazi occupied Germany to Russia to Japan, places like that. So it's kind of really interesting, and the horror setting just like really makes it. It's got like a really gritty, really grungy soundtrack. The characters are cool, but like I said, you know, they have really fun powers, but like really horrifying powers when you really think about it. And it also surprisingly has a hilarious sense of humor. Like it balances it so well with the horror setting, because it like you will be terrified of what's about to happen 1 minute, but then after the horrifying scenario's over, you'll just like meet a character who is a masked vigilante who is also a vampire, but he talks like a wrestler. so
Yeah.
so
You know, you're talking about this game, and I'm like, dude, that is you.
yeah,
That is you.
it is right. So really fun game. It's only for the PS2. I still have my copy of Shadow Hearts Covenant that I bought when it was like $6 at GameStop. And surprisingly, it's got a cult following now, so people are selling like their copies of the PS2 disc for like $70 and up. Me personally, I'm not gonna sell mine because this was one of my favorite games of all time, so I'm keeping it. I don't think I have a functioning PS2, but like I don't care. I'm gonna find one at some point and replay this game all over again because this was a fun game. But anyway, that's my rant on my number 6. So Brother Gamma, hit us with your number 6.
You know, now I'm gonna need to do some unethical things to play your game. Because
No,
you gave me quite a sale pitch on there.
you're gonna have to what's it called? Go through some means that we're not gonna discuss here to play the game, not through the intended channels. Am I right?
Exactly. That's the whole reason why I'm leaving it that big.
Gotcha. Alrighty.
Yo ho ho.
We at the Nevermore Collective do not endorse piracy. We understand, but we don't endorse it. So hit us with your number 6, Brother Gamma.
My number 6 is Tokiden.
Tokiden. Now, here's a game I've never heard about before. Would you mind telling me about it?
Okay, I'm just waiting for the image right there to pop up.
I'm gonna just go ahead and say, Gamma, I have heard of none of the games that you've said so far, but I'm interested in like every single one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this might really interest you too.
Okay.
Imagine playing a game on the Edo era. You're able to use swords, arrows, any weapon that you could think of your martial artist to use, even guns. Because that's when they started establishing guns. So you use a matchlock at best.
I am 100% sold on it already. Tell me more.
And now for the best sales.
Mm-hmm.
Waifus.
I am 100% sold on it. Tell me less.
Well,
like, say less. I needed to buy this game yesterday. Let's go.
Okay. On this game also, they give you a bit. If you want to get some buffs, you go take a shower. Not a shower, but a bath, because it's a bath that at certain times is for males, at certain times it's for females.
I see.
Depending on the character that you create, you might actually stumble upon the wrong time.
I see.
So if you're a girl, You might stumble upon your husband taking a bath.
I gotcha. It's kind of
Yeah,
a Witcher situation where like you have the bath scenes.
yeah, but the good thing is that they're somewhat covered up. Guys will have a little towel covering themselves, their
Of
lower
course.
region.
Of course.
The the females will be having that that gown like thing
Right.
that almost looks like a kimono, which is all white, but it looks really wet on certain spots, and you go like,
Yeah,
yes.
I know the kind you speak of. Yes.
And this is where we're like, and what else happens in the game? And game is like, I never got past the bath scenes.
No, 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 no. The good I had to because this is the thing though. The more you go to the world and you can either go solo to level up by yourself and get more XP, of course, or you could go with certain people. You could go with a group up to 3. So that's yourself and 2 more other people. The more you go with those people, the stronger your bond becomes with them.
Oh, I see. So it's kind of like a gosh, what do you call that? Like a like meter with your party. So the more that they like you, the more stuff that they can do.
And it's better bat scenes.
Oh, interesting.
If you just met them and they don't like you, they'll be pissed off at you and
Mm,
they will kick you off the bat and you will not get your buff at all. If
gotcha.
they like you, they will say, what are you waiting for? Get over here, let me clean your back. And then you get out of there with your buff after all.
Yeah, I see.
And you want to be able to get to a good like meter with your people.
Hmm.
The more they like you, means that they will be able to. There's also spirits on that game, kind of like the yokai that I mentioned earlier with Neo. You get your own yokai, but the more friendly you get with people, their yokai will separate and become part of yours as well. So you're able to swap techniques depending on the type of yokai you got. There's different type of damage that you can do.
Huh. Okay.
Yes.
That does
And
sound.
there's also a pet tree tail fox going around
Mhm.
that you can take with you once in a while.
Okay, so it's got yokai, it's got Edo period samurai stuff, it's got waifus. Yeah, this sounds definitely like my type of game. I gotta 100% get into this
And it's on the PS Vita.
on the PS Vita. I
If you,
don't have one of those, so that's gonna be difficult.
but I'll see if there's some other means, and I will let
Right.
you know. And remember, folks, Raid Shadow Legends
All right.
is, is not sponsoring us.
Is not sponsoring us. All right, there. You want to hit us with your number 6?
Number 6 for me was Sly Cooper.
Sly Cooper.
Yes.
You got a lot of like early PlayStation exclusives on here. You got Sly Cooper, you got Crash Bandicoot. So yeah,
YuGiOh Duelist of the Rose.
yeah. So tell us about Sly Cooper. Why is that one? Why is that one on your number 5?
This was there was a kid way back when
Hmm.
that lived down the road, and I'd always go over to his house to play. And this was like one of the first games that he got for his PlayStation, so we just played this like nonstop. And then Sly Cooper 2 came out, and then Sly Cooper I think Band of Thieves was 2.
Hmm.
Like Sly Cooper 1 and 2 came out, and then 3 came out eventually, and they're good games. It's like Metal Gear, where it's the stealth aspect of it. Like there's not too many games that are like you need to be stealthy, and then they actually reward you for being stealthy instead of just being like, I have big gun, go burr.
Yeah, it's not your Ratchet and Clank. It's a little more technical.
Yeah, and I think that's what the like real draw from it was. And there's some like levels in it that were pretty fun. Like I remember in Sly Cooper 2, there was a you had to get a person on your team that was like good with remote control vehicles or something like that. So you end up entering a competition for someone who had to beat the Red Baron, and the like final boss mission of that was you're flying an airplane, shooting down other airplanes and stuff, and it's just so far different than what the base game was, but at the same time, it was what the base game was, and I don't know, it's a different game, and I just really liked the like concept of the stealing stuff.
Right, because at that time
That sounds bad.
there wasn't many games that actually had that as a mechanic. It was the stealth, right?
Yeah.
So it was I imagine a definitely different breath of air.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can see why. I never played it myself. Again, like at the time I couldn't afford a PlayStation. So
I'm gonna see if I can find a PlayStation up here, because there's a store that sells like old consoles. I'm gonna see if I can find one that works, and then when you come up here, you're gonna sit and play them, and
all
then you're
right.
not going home. You're gonna be here for a week playing all these games.
Go. I am down. That sounds like fun. Okay, let's see. My number 5. If I can find
Your
it.
number 5.
Yeah, my number 5. This is where we start getting nostalgic here. Mega Man X.
Oh, why you hit me on the feels?
Yeah.
0.
0. This game, man, like this is where I was saying about like Metal Slug, where Metal Slug was basically like a run and gun game, and like I had a hard time with Metal Slug, but for some reason I had no problem with Mega Man X, and I think that a lot of it was that the amount of enemies and fire that you would encounter was significantly less. So you had your running and your gunning, and there was certain areas where there would be like just an insane number of enemies compared to other areas, but for the most part it was pretty straightforward. You progressed through the stage, you had your platforming elements, and you had different moves that you can employ to get away from your enemy. So like you had like your dash attack so that you could like slide under enemy fire, or you could like wall hop, where you could like run up a wall basically and just kind of like stay out of the range of damage. The final stages were particularly crazy because they stopped pulling their punches. Like you could generally get through a normal stage without any issue, but whenever you reach like the last 4 stages, the Sigma Castle, there would be enemies everywhere. You would be facing fire from every direction. And the best thing about Mega Man games that I've found is that a lot of the times the weapons that you gain on the way to the final bosses become integral in your tactics. So like you got enemies above and below you. You can use the Storm Eagle's storm cannon, and you'll take them out without ever having to like be on their same level. The shotgun ice, when you fire it against the wall, it will spray backwards in like an arc. So like you had like a whole list of different things that you could do, and I was like, okay, so this is awesome. The more weapons you get, the more of a badass you become. Now, I put Mega Man X, the first one, as the title here, but me personally, I like the entire series. My favorite one was Mega Man X3, because I thought it had the neatest weapons. My favorite being the parasitic bomb, which is like you would fire it and it would latch itself onto an enemy, immobilizing them completely. And I thought that was funny as hell, because there was like these big enemies who would follow you with like, and they'd be firing like grenades and missiles at you, and you could just go parasitic bomb, they stop working. And the best part about it is that if there was another enemy close enough to them, the parasitic bomb would just like lift them up and chuck them at the other enemy, kind of like as a guided missile. I was like, this is awesome. So yeah, the Mega Man X series to me, fucking kick ass. I love playing as Mega Man, or X as they call him in the games. 0 to me was hard mode, because he didn't have like a arm cannon. Well, he did, but his was crappy. but his main weapon was like his lightsaber, and that lightsaber was fucking kick-ass. It would do a lot of damage on enemies, but you had to be right up on them. So, really fun game.
Well, I was gonna ask you, is X3 the one that is 3D, or is the one that is still 2D?
Yeah, no, X3 was still on the Super Nintendo, so it was still 2D. I think 3D was like X7, because X6 is the last one I played before they started going into 3D. So that one was on the PlayStation 1?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was on the PlayStation 1. PlayStation 2 had X7, and it was 3D, and everyone was like, oh yeah, this game sucks. I never played it, so don't know.
Now, I got another question for you.
Okay.
Since you like Mega Man X,
Uh-huh.
you play the mobile version that shows the point of view from Vile, and you play as Vile.
What?
Yes.
That's crazy. Oh, man.
It is glorious. And they made the whole reason that game was made is because they messed up on giving the voice actor credit on the end credits.
Huh.
So in order to make it up, they made that whole game, which is just you play as Vile. They made a metal song of the Vile theme.
Nice.
It's glorious while you play that game.
Oh, that is hilarious. Vile being like one of those recurring main antagonists, so that's kind of fun to me. It's basic. He's basically Boba Fett. Let's be honest here. He looks like him. He's got the helmet. You know, he's got like the weapons. He looks just like him.
As much as I want to say no, he's not. He is Boba Fett.
All right, Brother Gamba, what's your number 5?
My number 5, and you could join me on this one if you feel like it.
Okay.
Is the Darkness franchise.
The Darkness. It was on the PS3. I never played it, but I was a huge fan of the comics. Like,
yeah.
And you know, tangentially a fan of the comics because I'd never read them before, but I liked Witchblade, and Jackie Estacado would routinely show up on Witchblade. So like after a while, I kind of started like, oh, so who's this guy and why is he important? And you know, like it's part of the whole Image Comics universe. And yeah, he's just a badass. I like him.
Oh, is this the guy that has like the snakes that
Yes.
are over his shoulders?
Right.
Oh, okay, yeah. I know this one, Gamma. I know this one.
Yes, now Dare knows this one too. Yes.
I remember when this first came out, I saw the like commercials for it and everything, and I was like, that looks really badass. That he just has like these snake things over his shoulders that he fights people with.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a PS3 to play it though, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's the shame about like there being so many good games is that you can't own all the consoles unless you're rolling. So I do like Jackie Estacado as a character. He's like a mobster, and you know he's just got like these supernatural powers. He's fucking badass. It's great.
He's a badass, but you gotta remember though, he's got a code.
Yeah, he's got a code. He's not like your typical bad guy. He operates honorably.
Yep. No woman and no children.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else, good to go.
Yep.
And if you read the comics, you know that he cannot have his adult fun time, or else that will be his doom.
Right.
And out of the Darkness 1 and Darkness 2,
mm-hmm.
if you really want to feel like you're playing in a comic book, play the second one.
Right. I remember like everybody praised the second one for being a huge step up. Like they said like the first one was okay, but they were like, no, the second one though, man, that one really stepped up its game.
Oh, it did. And I played it on the hardest mode. Nice. I cannot get past the first boss. And I love the game. I just can't get past the first boss because at times you gotta use, we already know that Jackie is weak to light.
Right.
So if somebody flashes a light at you, Well, you're shit out of luck. You best use your guns to take out that light somehow, or find some darkness around you.
Nice. Okay, so like there's some kind of like strategic elements, and how weird like your opponents are like, hey, just hit him with the spotlight. That's that's kind of awesome. I love
There's
it.
there's one there's one of them that has multiple spotlights, and they even tell you, like, you fool, get him, get him away from the dark. No, and the finishers, whenever you just get up close and personal,
Yeah.
you do the whole alien scene, the alien coming out of your chest, but it's actually the darkness coming out of their chest.
Sweet. I love it. It's brutal and it's awesome. And it's just like comic book aesthetic to the max. I dig it.
Yes, one of the finishers as well is called the T-bone, which he just splits the person is doing a whole split.
Mm-hmm.
No, not the T-bone, the wishbone. Doing a split, and then he just breaks them in half with both tentacles.
Brutal. I love it.
Depending on your finisher, you either get health or you get bullets.
Oh, so interesting. So you don't run around trying to like find ammo. Basically, you get your ammo from your enemies.
As long as you got the right upgrade, yes. Okay. If you don't, well, you best get their Uzis, their regular guns, and their shotguns, and hope for the best.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that is awesome.
And the game itself leaves you on a cliffhanger. The Darkness 2.
They never had a Darkness 3, did they?
No, the Darkness 2 leaves you on a cliffhanger that if you are a fan of the comic, you know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But if you only play the game, you will not know. The plot twist is at the end of the game, the person that you thought was dead, Jenny, has been alive and kept alive by the darkness.
What?
Because he's keeping her locked up because she will become the Angelus.
Oh yeah, that's another one of the artifacts from like the Image Comics universe.
Yes.
Yes, that's right. So you got like the darkness, which is like the embodiment of basically evil, and like the Angelus that's supposed to be justice, and the Witchblade, which is supposed to be the balance between the two.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I kept going like, dude, why haven't you made a third one? That's gonna increase shit. Like fight against monsters and humans. And then there's freaking angels hunting you down.
Yeah, that would be freaking sweet. I would love them to make a number 3. That sounds awesome.
All right. Let me stop taking so much. I want to hear their stuff.
All right, Dare, hit us with your number 5.
My number 5 was Supreme Commander Forged Alliance.
I don't know this one, but it sounds like an RTS.
Well, you hit the nail right on the head. It is an RTS game. And the storyline, I actually have some videos on my channel of like where I played through, I think I played through 2 and then 1 or 2 of the campaigns on Forged Alliance and the first game. The game is basically there's a war between these 3 different alien races. There's the UEF, which is the humans, the Cybran, which are like these half robot, half people, Neuralink hive mind-esque group, and then the Aeons, which are just alien psychic people. And the game, the story, there's a story. It's been so long since I've given it any care to the story. I played it mostly for the multiplayer because the multiplayer, you can have, I think, anywhere from 500 to 1,000 units per person.
Holy cow.
And you can have games of 8 people.
Oh
So
my god.
having like the memories of 4v4 on Setton's Clutch with just massive armies and massive battles, it is so fun. Your computer will hate you afterwards, but it is amazing to watch just like a massive amount of like fighter jets going at each other with like tanks battling underneath them, and then in the shore there's these massive battleships that are shelling the land bases, and there's submarines attacking the battleships, and there's so much to do.
Mm-hmm.
And like back when there's still a community, but you have to like play Forged Alliance Forever, which is like a extra add-on that you have to download.
Okay.
But there's so many epic battles that can be had in the game, and to be able to play the game at like a good skill level, you have to be able to like focus on so many things at once.
I kind of figured that this would be one of those games that you need to be good at multitasking in order to be good at.
I usually just click and make a box to select all my units and then say, go fight, good luck. But if you watch some of these people who actually like play it competitively and seriously, they're like clicking on four or five units and moving them and microing them, and at the same time they're hitting a hotkey to go over to their fighter jets and micro them the fighter jets, and it's just like, you are a god at this game.
Yeah.
And I wish I was half as good as you.
I know the feeling. Like, there are games that do require that level of concentration, and I am like borderline ADHD, so I'm like, I can't focus that long, man. You gotta like something like something's gonna grab my attention away from my army, which is also why I shouldn't be in the army ever. And like
Just under fire, and you're like, oh, a butterfly.
yeah, we're under fire. It's like, squirrel. Did you guys see the squirrel? But yeah, like that level of concentration. I mean, in order to be good at these kind of games, you have to be able to multitask, which I am terrible at. But I have mad respect to the people who can.
I used to be able to play it like semi decently, but I mean, you get older and you don't play a game for X amount of time, and you lose that.
Yeah, but I get it.
And it's one of those things that it's once you lose it, it's not that easy to get it back.
Yeah,
like you know how, but it's with a shifting meta of things, and it's hard to come back to something like that.
I understand. Yeah, I get it. All right, we're moving on to my number 4. I have The Legend of Dragoon.
PA said that was his number 5.
Yeah,
So,
PA sent me his list over Discord, and I had to tell him, I'm like, you are going to be surprised at how many similarities we have, because this was one that he mentioned. He also mentioned what's it called, Shadow Hearts, which I told him I had that one too. So Legend of Dragoon, back in the days when your PS1 did not, or the discs for your PS1 did not have the capacity to contain an adventure in a single disc, so you had like these games that would have 4 discs. This is one of them. Made by Sony Computer Entertainment. Really fun game. Not like your regular RPG. You had like a real time reaction system. So whenever you would use your move, you would have to mash buttons in a sequence in order to deal the maximum amount of damage. And if you flubbed, you would just either do no damage or you would miss altogether. So it was a lot of fun that way. It's basically Power Rangers in a fantasy world. Each of you has like a dragon spirit that gives you a special armor, and your special armors are specialized to different kinds of combat, basically. You can have a party of 3 at a time out of a roster of, I think, like 8 characters. A huge story that takes place over 10,000 years, basically. and events from a war 10,000 years ago are haunting the present day, and it is just like it is a huge adventure. I mean, like, fantasy wise, this is like the archetype. So much fun, like very different ways to build your party with like all the characters you have, and even has one of those like Final Fantasy VII. You guys know when Sephiroth kills like the main girl, it has one of those scenes, except it's like the main character's BFF, and like you feel it, man. Like, because this entire time your BFF is just the nicest guy. Like, this guy is so cool, he is so helpful, he's got your back, and you grow to depend on him. So when he gets murked, you're like, oh no. Like, Lavins, come back to me. And the game does kind of disrespect you a little bit, because the moment that your best friend is murdered, they replace him with a guy who has the exact same moves.
Ooh.
The exact same moves, looks the exact same, just a little shorter,
Yeah,
and has like a Boston accent.
it's basically that would have been hilarious. I would have laughed at that, but basically it's so like you get your best friend gets murdered, and he gets replaced by basically like the guy he was serving. So it's like, oh, Labbits got murdered, but he was a knight of King Albert, so now King Albert joins your party, and he's got all the same moves as Lavitz because they fought against each other, so they learned their shit. So real fun game, really epic. Like it ends like in the most satisfying way. Like it's got one of those endings that just like really sticks the landing. I always thought that it was worthy of a sequel, but Sony Computer Entertainment disagreed with me. So they just left it at one and done. Not terrible. It was a really good game for its time. So I mean, like, I still have my copy of The Legend of Dragoon, and heck, if I ever get my hands on another PlayStation, I'll play it again.
And it get remake?
What's that?
Yes, if they made a remake.
No, it didn't get a remake. Like, for a while there, it looked like they were considering it, because PlayStation had like their version of Smash Brothers, which was called like PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale, and it didn't do well. They actually like they stopped providing updates to the game before they got their first DLC, and the first DLC was set to release 2 characters from The Legend of Dragoon as downloadable fighters. So you were going to have the main character Dart, and basically his I don't know, like I want to say she's like his mom, but technically not. Like she basically had a thing with his dad 10,000 years ago. So yeah, so like his technically mom Rose, so those guys were going to be downloadable characters, and I was like, okay, that would have been awesome. They had like pre-rendered models for them already and everything, like, so they had worked on the characters so that they were ready to be downloaded. But then PlayStation was just like, you know what, meh. We don't need to have a Smash Brothers type game. Forget it. And I was like, oh, that would have been so good. And actually, now that I think about it, I think PA mentioned The Legend of Dragoon. Yeah, he did. He mentioned The Legend of... Actually, we did say this a little while ago, didn't we?
I was going to say, I literally started this by saying, Bart, PA said that was his number 5. And then you proceeded to go, yeah, he sent me his list, and this was very similar list. And I was like, there we go.
I mentioned my ADHD, right?
The squirrel right there.
The squirrel just took off with me. So, Gamma, why don't you hit us with your number 4?
The number 4 will be the Onimusha franchise. But out of all of them, I will go with Onimusha 3.
Onimusha 3 was the Return of Samanosuke, is that right?
It's the Return of Samanosuke,
yeah,
with Jane Reno.
Yes, Leon the Professional was in that game. I remember that.
With whips.
With whips. He was... I thought this was so awesome. I was like, no way, Leon the Professional in Onimusha? This is great. And like, for some reason, I always felt like this game was underhyped because it was awesome.
Yes, it was great. It has the cast, considering that.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, on the second one, the main character that could have voiced him died, so they couldn't go with him.
Oh, that sucks. Okay, so
Jubei.
the Jubei.
Jubei was.
I was gonna say when
Yeah.
I played Onimusha, my first intro into Onimusha was the second one because I started off the series by playing Jubei.
Yeah, he was. He would have been voiced by by the real life person, but he was dead. So
That sucks.
that's the part that sucks about it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, all the other people are actually voiced by them. I believe Takeshi Kaneshiro voices the English version
Mhm.
and the Japanese version, and he's also multilingual. He speaks
Oh.
He speaks 5 languages.
That's badass.
Yes.
Yeah. Onimusha is just a fun game, man. Like it's basically your I don't want to say it's like Devil May Cry because you don't have like your jump options and your dodges. Well, you do have dodges, but it's basically like sword combat. You'll face hordes of enemies and demons and stuff, and you're basically just a badass who has multiple weapons and can just wreck armies. It's a lot of fun.
That's a good thing about it. On Onimusha 1 through 3,
Mhm.
you got that option like, okay, you're a one-man army.
Right.
Go kick ass.
Yeah, go kick ass.
Onimusha 4 comes around and says, you are you. Do you want to get to this area? You best swap out to this other character. And you
Oh.
better hope their level is high enough too.
No, that's terrible. What?
Yep.
I hate
There's
that.
There's a brawler that is all I think that he was enhanced by the demon guy,
Uh-huh.
which you find out the main bad guy of Onimusha 4
Mhm.
is your father.
Oh, what?
But you find out
Uh-huh.
that he wasn't intentionally evil.
Okay.
He was evil in order to contain the true evil.
I mean, I guess.
Which the true evil is 14 Bros.
Yeah. Okay.
The main evil bad guy that gave Nobunaga his drink to become a demon lord on Onimusha 1.
Right.
That's the main bad guy on Onimusha 4. And you also will need to use a ninja if you want the ninja girl, which her name is Jubei from the Jubei clan,
Right.
in order to get to small cracks. And she got something that looks like the freaking Sharingan. She got an eye patch on it, and if she unleashes the eye patch, well, she's able to use her Sharingan.
Right.
You have all those characters, which they go like, okay, this is a descendant of this Onimusha character and whatnot. Sadly, Jin Reno is not a descendant because he's on the future.
Right.
Jin Reno is,
There was
Jin
time
Reno
travel
is-
in that one. I do remember that. I was like, oh, yeah, that's right.
So now you got a Spanish guy that you got, oh, I guess he will do. And then there's a monk, which if you watch the intro for the game,
Mhm.
at first you go like, okay, I kind of recognize that face, but why is he a monk?
Mm.
You'll find out that at the end of the game, once you finish the last Onimusha game, the fairy from Onimusha 3 is there, but she is not a fairy anymore. She is actually at the height of a little girl,
Oh, weird.
and she walks with this guy, the priest named Tenkai,
Mhm.
but she calls him Samanosuke.
What?
Boo!
What? No.
Yes,
No.
yes.
Oh, I hate this so much. Why?
Samanosuke.
No.
I was like, what?
Oh,
Yes.
out of all the plot twists, I hate that one the most. I can't.
Because the way that they explain it on Onimusha 4 is he is only borrowing the power of the Oni
Okay.
when he becomes Onimusha.
Okay.
The Black Oni, which is the son of Hideyoshi, that's the name of the guy, Hideyoshi, which was an underling under Nobunaga, and once you kill, Nobunaga gets killed, Hideyoshi actually takes over, which is historically almost accurate.
Right.
That's the messed up part. If you follow the history, you go, like, oh shit. But his son is actually called the Black Oni. So everything Semanowski could do, this guy could do better. And I hate it so much because I like Semanowski.
I'm right there with you. This is a meh. I don't know. I feel like the series just kind of crashed at that point.
But I got another plot twist for you.
Oh,
Did
no.
you know that there was a Onimusha game that never came to the US?
Yeah, wasn't that like Warriors or something?
Yes.
Yes, the
Onimusha
fighting game.
Warriors. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted that game so much.
I did too. I was like, oh man, I wanna like fight as Jubei or OU versus like Sabanosuke or like some of the rest of the guys. That would have been cool.
Definitely cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's enough from me.
All right, Dare, you want to hit us with your number 4?
My number 4. That you mentioned earlier. It's the Ratchet and Clank series.
Ratchet and Clank.
I think out of all the games, Up Your Arsenal would probably be like the first one, just because of like the leveling mechanic with the guns as well as the name.
Yeah, as well as the name. I do feel like Up Your Arsenal is the one that I remember the most. I think that one was on the PS3, which at the time I had. And
yeah, the first Up Your Arsenal was, I think, the second or third game, because it's on the PS2 as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I do remember that the guns had like a lot of really interesting things that they could do.
Yeah, with Up Your Arsenal, that was like the first one where you could level up your gun from 1 to 5 and then purchase an upgrade for it, and then level up. After you beat the game, you could level it up to level, I want to say 10 or 15,
Mm-hmm.
and just have like these super overpowered guns. But like the scatter shot shotgun was probably like the coolest one, because you could charge it
Mm-hmm.
and use more ammo.
Mm-hmm.
But if you charged it all the way up, it would just shoot a straight beam. So you just charge it up and like spin the joystick really quick and just destroy everything in the room.
No, that would be cool.
With the one shotgun blast. And then they had like the plasma whip, and it was a great game. The characters in it were good. The story was like decent.
Mm-hmm.
The gameplay was decent. There was some puzzles, and there was like, you had to go find like the golden bolts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like, one of the most memorable things of Ratchet and Clank that I remember is going on YouTube, looking up how to get into like the secret rooms, because it was go to this specific place at this time on this world and jump here and do like a backflip and then rocket boost up and grab onto this invisible ledge and go around, and you drop down onto a teleporter and it teleport you into like the game dev room, where you're not supposed to be there, but at the same time they put it there as like a museum of all the people who worked on the games, and like here's the stuff that we left out of the final development. Here's this was like a potential concept art for a weapon. This is the concept of the weapon that just never made it into the final game. And it's a fun fun shooter game that I loved.
Yeah. It is fun, and I've heard a lot of people complain about like going back to one of my previous picks, Mega Man X7, which was in 3D, and it was like a third-person shooter, and it was abysmally bad. But everyone said, "How did you get this so wrong?" When Ratchet and Clank, which was on the same console, got it so right. It was like it's inexplicable, like how in the world did you fuck this up so hard when there were other games out at the time that had the same thing. You basically, it's a run and gun, you have multiple different weapons that give you different abilities, and like they're super interactive with the world around you. Yet Mega Man, you've been doing this for years, and this was just a catastrophe. So like
You had one job and you fucked it up.
and you fucked it up. And Ratchet and Clank did it way better. So like, yeah, I do have fond memories of Up Your Arsenal, and like basically the same thing is, I was like, this got it right. I felt like this was a really fun run and gun shooter with excellent platforming elements, and I just love all the cool shit that you could do with it.
The thing with this that like really like stuck out to me was there's like always the way to run and gun,
Mm-hmm.
but then they also gave you weapons that if you were having trouble,
Mm-hmm.
you could just use this like the turret gun,
Mm-hmm.
or like the little mini bots that were in some of the extra like further games. I remember there were certain bosses I couldn't beat, so I just stand behind a rock and then throw a turret, let the turret do like 10% of the boss's health, and then throw another turret.
Yeah.
And just keep cheesing the bosses like that if I had difficulties.
Yeah.
And I think that was the first game that actually taught me that if you're having trouble with a boss, find a way to cheese it.
Yeah. Troll the boss. Okay, we're moving to the top threes. You guys excited for this?
My top three are like games I want to say super passionate about, but I'm looking at 1 and 2 and I'm just like, I fucking hate these games so much.
Oh man.
For me, I can't say that about my top three. Like, I could say that about some of the previous ones, but my top three are the ones where I'm like, I have nothing bad to say about this game. Starting with my number 3, Pokemon the Ruby version. A lot of people did not like the Ruby version because it didn't have a national Pokédex. You could only catch the Pokemon in the Hoenn region. I didn't find a problem with that. I thought that was smart because in my head, I'm like, why would I use any of the new Pokemon if I still have the old ones that I like accessible to me? But I could play Pokemon the Ruby version for hours, man. This was a fun game. It was the introduction of the abilities. So now your Pokemon have like passive abilities that they can do, which made like battles like so much crazier. It was in the introduction of the 2-on-2 system, which you could throw out 2 Pokemon versus your opponent's 2 Pokemon. It just had like so much stuff. It had weather, which was crazy. Is like, oh yeah, like if it's raining outside, certain Pokemon show up more often than not. Weather conditions did exist in the game before, but they were used as moves in battle, not as stuff that would just happen whenever you're out in the wild. And other than that, I just thought that the Pokemon design was solid on this one. I thought that a lot of there were very few of them that I didn't like. I liked like a majority of them, like 99%. I feel. You could dive underwater. This was cool. I thought Pokemon Ruby version was just like, at the time, just the peak of Pokemon. And I've played every Pokemon game. I've yet to find one that I feel as passionately about as the Ruby version. I really thought that this one just got it right. But yeah, that's all I have to say about this one.
Yeah, something with like YuGiOh that I do every single time a new set comes out is I look for the cover card. And with like Ruby and Sapphire, Groudon and Kyogre, those are the cover Pokemon that they're just like, as design goes, they're badass.
Yes.
As like skill set goes, they are badass.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said with the weather, I believe whenever Kyogre summoned, he automatically summons like a rainstorm.
He automatically
and
brings
then
the rain. Yeah.
and then Groudon is. I don't remember if he does a sandstorm or if he's like
sunlight.
Sunlight. Yeah.
Mhm.
But those. Whenever I played through, I think I played through Emerald. I don't think I had Sapphire Ruby, but Emerald's basically the two put together with extra stuff. But yeah, those were like that was the part of the game that it was like, I don't care about the story. I just want Kyogre and Groudon.
Yes.
And I want to skip to that part. So let me skip to that part, please.
I love how Team Aqua and Team Magma are eco-terrorists, but they are so terrible at being eco-terrorists. Like, you know what people need? More land. Get rid of this ocean. You know what people need? More water. Get rid of some of the land. I'm like, you guys are so bad at being eco-terrorists.
Like, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong.
You guys are doing it terribly wrong. This sucks. But yeah, I mean, in my opinion, Ruby and Sapphire, best entries of the Pokemon franchise. Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, also really good. I didn't understand what the hell IGN was talking about when they complained about there being too much water. They're like...
Forget IGN.
Yeah, like they were like, oh, you know, a majority of the map is water. You're going to have to surf. So one of the minuses for this game is that there's too much water. I'm like, I see you guys are part of Team Magma.
Oh.
You just blew your own cover, boyo.
You guys are dumb. All right, Brother Gamma, you're number 3. Let's hear it.
My number 3 is God Eater franchise. But out of all of them, I found God Eater 3 to be the best one.
I was going to say probably 3. My wife won't shut up about God Eater 3.
See, she's a lady of culture.
I was going to say she's a lady of culture, yes. Now, this is based off an anime, right? Or is the anime based off the game?
It's actually based off a manga.
Oh, interesting.
There is a manga which became the game, which then the game became an anime.
Okay, sweet.
And it is dark.
I have heard. My wife keeps telling me, she's like, man, it gets weird in there, man.
Yeah, especially if you play the first God Eater. Even though I like the third one, the first God Eater is gonna pull your strings. You're gonna get attached to this player, and then they're gonna rip them away from you, in the most brutal way possible.
No.
Yes.
Game.
And
surprisingly, there's a lot going on in these lists. Zero and Mega Man, Lavitz and Legend of Dragoon, and now God Eater.
And the thing is, the guy always smokes cigarettes, but as he's gonna get killed, he's just lying there all injured on what looked to be a church, smoking his cigarette, and he's gonna get that killing blow.
Oh.
And they cut it off right there.
No.
So you base it all the time like he's dead. He's being dead. Oh my God, no. The guy that actually gives me the best skill and cheers up the whole team is dead. And now I'm trying to hit the waifu material, and she won't talk to me because she loves him the most.
Oh no. Do they replace him with a character with similar abilities, or as soon as they kill him, is he just gone?
That's the thing, though. You could replace him. All that you just need to do is use the weapon that he uses. So if he's long range, since I believe he was close range, so you could transform your weapon to be close range and just attack, and you'll be fine. But then later on, they go like, hey, you know that character you thought was dead? Well, he's now one of them.
Of course.
He got infected.
Damn it.
And he is a badass. And if you play it on the PS Vita and you hear that song over the clouds, it's just amazing. But the grinding that you gotta do for upgrading your weapons is terrible.
Yeah.
So terrible. Like, hey, go hunt down that guy over there. The same one that just whooped your ass plenty of times. You need to actually whoop his ass 10 times if you want this upgrade.
Oh, that sucks. I hate it when they do that. Like, that's Final Fantasy levels of go fuck yourself. Because, like, that's what they do. You want the ultimate weapon? Beg for it.
Yeah, and then it's more like, okay, am I gonna get more money out of it? No. You gotta fight him, and you're gonna get shipped for money for it. And then if you messed up during this, you're gonna miss a talk that you could do with your teammate that increases your bond, or you find out more about the lore, and you just screw. And the thing that sucks is that I never finished them. I never finish it because the grind is rough on this game.
Oh, I see.
And-
I mean, yeah, I have games too where I'm like, this is rough. I don't want to do this.
And playing God Eater 3 on the PC is a pain.
Why is that?
Keyboard and mouse.
Oh, I mean, I bet you could like hook up a controller.
My controller died. So
Oh.
keyboard and mouse.
Yeah, in that case, you're just out of luck.
Shit.
Oh man.
Oh, do let Miss Barr know that she got good taste.
Yeah.
And with that, I'm done.
Okie doke. Dare, hit us with your number 3.
So number 3 is like, out of all the things I've said so far for my list, this is like the furthest one from being like with them, and it's To the Moon.
This is the game
Moon,
about
what
the
is
guy
this
who's dying, right?
It is a story-driven experience about 2 doctors traversing backwards through a dying man's memory to artificially fulfill his last wishes.
Oh god, like
It is one of the few times I remember crying, and like it was like not good crying.
yes.
It's such a good game, and it's just like a little RPG maker game. But God, the story, like, I always say I don't know how to read.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the games that, like, I'm looking at it. I've played it for like 2.5 hours. That 2.5 hours was me actually like reading all of the dialogue that was going on in the game.
Mm. Yeah,
because it's great.
I do remember like that this one came up on like a list of things that like these games will destroy your emotions, and
It will.
Yeah.
Will, like, because this is one of the games that I'm not going to say what happens in it,
mm-hmm.
other than like I gave you the Steam description, but like looking here on Steam, it's got a 96% overall positive review since its release, and the recent review, 394 users, 96%.
Yeah.
So
that's
like,
good.
It's one of those things that you hear about that, like
yeah.
a game, like a game that can make you remember the experience will often be praised a whole lot more than a game that like makes you remember that just gives you a whole bunch of stuff, And I feel like this would be one of those where like the experience of it is just gonna be like one of those things that sticks with you.
Yeah, because it's got high points and it's got low points in it, because it's like the sound design is fantastic. The sound, like the music tracks, the OST for it. I will argue that To the Moon has probably the best soundtrack to any game that I've ever played. Like it's all like something to just evoke feelings. Like you have like silly moments where like there's a combat scene where you're fighting squirrels, but there's also like the really sad points, and when that like the credits play and the like song plays with the credits, it's like I'm tearing up now talking.
Oh no.
So yeah, like it's $9.99, and if you haven't like played it, it's one that I would actually highly recommend playing because it's
I
such a good game.
I love destroying my own emotions, so I will probably look into this.
I haven't played the game for like years. Like I don't. Steam says last played today because I just reinstalled it because I want to play through it again. But like I bought it back in like 2011 when it came out, played through it, and like just the memories of it now. Like I said, I'm like tearing up thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's just a great game.
I fucking love solid storytelling, and if it can deliver on that, then yeah, 100%. I am on board with it. Okay, we are down to my number 2. And this one is the game that I first knew I loved video games when I played this one, and it is Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
He's Italian dude that goes, hey, it's me, Sonic.
Yes.
It's me, Sonic.
And that is precisely the reason why I loved it. I had an NES when I was a kid, and I did not care for Mario. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's because he looked a lot like my dad, or or if it's just because because it was like, yeah, you play as a little Italian dude with a mustache. I was like, shit, I could grow up to be a little Italian dude with a mustache for all I know. Like, what's fantastical about this? Well, he fights dragons, so I don't know about that. It seems like if he's a plumber, he's doing his job very poorly. So, but no, in all honesty, it's I think I preferred Sonic over Mario because he had like the attitude, you know, like he was fast, and Mario kind of ran fast, but like it didn't give you the same level of the same feeling of speed that Sonic gave you. Like you could bounce off bumpers and springs and go down inclines and just like gain all this speed to the point where the game just felt like it. There were certain times where like if you did it right, the game would struggle to keep up with Sonic as he moved, and I thought that was cool as hell. I was like, this is awesome. What's it called? I really dug the personality, you know, like where if you didn't touch the control and you just kind of waited, Sonic would start kind of like looking at the camera like, yo, are we doing this or what?
Priceless.
Yeah,
Just
priceless.
like angrily tapping his foot and like looking over his shoulder at you. It's
Yes.
like, come on.
I thought that was cool. And you know, it just had like solid level design. Like, you know, how every level had like the higher parts and the lower parts. The lower parts were filled with more enemies and were generally more slower. But if you could find a way to get to the top part of a level, it was basically all speed. Like, you know, just go. So it had great level design. I thought like the bosses were fun to play against, and they were sometimes difficult, but they were never so out of the scope of where you could say I know how to beat this if I just pay attention. And also the music was just.
I was gonna say, if you don't say anything about like the Green Hill Zone theme or any of the music, I'm gonna be upset.
A Chemical Plant is my jam to this day. Like any one of the tracks for any one of the levels in the Sonic franchise is arguably great, but I thought Sonic 2 was just firing on all cylinders. You know, I was like, this is fantastic, and it was so great. This game made me a fan of video games, and it made me a lifelong fan of the Sonic franchise. Even to this day, I still pick it out from time to time, put it in my Genesis, and let's go. Let's just play some Sonic. I feel like the franchise did struggle for a bit whenever they made the transition to 3D. They
Just a little bit.
just a little bit. They didn't have a lot of really good installments during that time.
We're not going to talk about half the installments that they had at that time.
No.
Just a little bit of struggles.
I have Sonic Adventure Sonic Adventure installed on my PC, and I keep telling myself that I'm going to play it, but I'm scared of what I might find.
It's like Vietnam
Hard.
flashback to Sonic 06.
Oh, Sonic 06 is the one that we don't mention.
Bard, if I may,
Yes.
there's something that was told on the chat.
All right, go for it. Let's see.
I'm just relaying the message. I'm just a messenger over here.
Mm-hmm.
There is a reason. PA has said, we all know why you like Sonic over Mario.
Because I'm a
And
furry.
it's because you're a furry.
I keep denying that I'm a furry, but PA keeps finding like really compelling evidence to at this point I'm doubting it. I'm like, wait, am I a furry? What's going on? Lipstick Lisa says, let's see, Duke Nukem. You guys ever play Duke Nukem?
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, I've played Duke Nukem forever.
I've never had played any Duke Nukem, so I don't know what it's about. So
it was basically, it's like a Doom-esque game, but it's more like it's not as serious, I would say.
Oh.
But the original Duke Nukems were fantastic, and then Duke Nukem Forever, which came out like years after the originals, it was like.
Oh, the blasphemy.
It was not received well.
A lot of things were not received from that game.
So, Brother Gamma, why don't you hit us with your number 2?
Mortal Kombat.
The
franchise, but I'm gonna go with Mortal Kombat 2. Not 11, 2.
The second one, that's the one that was like on the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis, is that right?
Yeah.
I had that one. I had that one. I remember that one.
That brings so many memories.
Yes.
And the fact that you actually had to, if you wanted to know all the finishing moves, you could buy a GamePro magazine and just go back.
I remember those days before the internet where you had to buy a magazine to get like all the secrets.
All the secrets. Like, you want the sound test? Okay. A, B, Y, something. And then if you pull the all counter cheat code, well, you want to hear that.
Oh man, like I gotta say, Mortal Kombat is memorable for any number of reasons. The gameplay being one, the characters being another. The really bad, like the so bad it's good movie. And like the
which one of those? Because they had
those?
they had like 13 so bad it's good movies.
I was talking about like the first one.
Each one.
The intro of the banger of a theme song for Mortal Kombat. You know the one?
Yeah, the first one.
I think everyone knows the Mortal Kombat theme song. Like, if you don't know the Mortal Kombat theme song, then what are you doing?
Yeah, really. Like, where were you during the 90s? This was literally like the zeitgeist. Oh man, like it's impossible to pull out a copy of Mortal Kombat to play with your homies without somebody going Mortal Kombat.
And then they pick Johnny Cage, and you got really. Why you pick the guy that randomly does the red tag once in a while?
Everybody seemed to like playing as the ninja characters. They like Scorpion and Sub-Zero in them. My favorite was Jax.
Jax?
Yeah.
Good choice. Mine is Reptile.
Yeah. You know, like
I think his name was Goldo or something. The big dude with 4 arms.
Goro.
Goro?
Yeah, Goro. That was the guy that I loved.
I had to ask, like, okay, Goro or Kintaro? Because there's 2 of them.
Oh, there's 2 of them now.
Mortal Kombat 2 is Kintaro.
Okay.
He wore like a little like loincloth and then had his hair in a ponytail. That like changes it.
That sounds Goro.
Okay, that's Goro.
Yeah.
Kintaro doesn't got any hair.
If I may, Goro in the movie looked terrible.
Terrible. Oh goodness, why?
It's like the height of 90s bad special effects. I was like, oh, I hate this.
Like I was like, okay, dude, I like the concept of Goro offering something to Shansun like here, and it looks brutal doing it.
You're right.
But then Goro getting punched
In the nuts.
and that takes him down. I'm like,
Yes.
the hell just happened?
That's what I was like too. I was like, wait a minute, no.
That move does not work on the game. So why in the world does it work?
Right? I was like, come on.
PA said Sub-Zero is his boy, and then Patience, I think she's referring to Baraka, because she said she likes the guy with the giant teeth.
Baraka.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see
Which,
if I
I mean,
remember.
Mortal Kombat had so many good characters in it, too. Like,
Let me remember.
all of them are good.
Yeah.
There's a certain voice for Baraka. I gotta remember. Oh yeah, he talks just like this. And if you go over there to the candy store, you gotta give me that candy because, you know, if Sandra don't put it on you, then what are you doing here?
I love it. That,
So, Gamma, sorry.
no,
Bart,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I got it.
Go ahead.
What were your thoughts on the Mortal Kombat game where it was Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe, having like Batman fighting Baraka or like the Joker fighting Goro or something like that?
It was broken. It felt broken. I'm like, why would you do this? It's make an own fighting game thing, in which they did. They did Injustice, which is pretty cool.
Right.
But that whole Mortal Kombat versus DC, it just didn't felt right.
That's how I felt about it too. I was like, this feels like the most mismatched thing ever, you know?
Like, here's Batman. I don't want to have Batman. I want to have my reptile
Right.
fighting regular fights.
Here's Iron Man with his Hulkbreaker suit versus Melina.
Oh no!
And you know what? It's
a little
weird.
bit of a power difference there.
Yeah, and it's so weird. Like, hear me out here. It's so weird that Marvel can get away with this crap, like left and right, because they do Marvel versus Capcom all the time, you know, and it doesn't feel weird. However, DC tries it once with DC versus Mortal Kombat, and everyone's like, don't like it.
No. You let that to the big boys. You let that to Marvel. Don't.
The thing for me with that is, like DC, I don't really see them as like people getting killed esque type comic,
Right.
and then Mortal Kombat, like that's associated with blood and gore and the fatalities and everything. So it's like you're mixing apples with oranges and trying to say, "Oh, look, they're the same."
Right.
It's not.
It feels completely out of left field. As a matter of fact, Brother Gamma, hear me out and see if you agree with me on this. But the Image comic universe versus Mortal Kombat would have made more sense.
I completely agree.
Right.
Due to the fact that the Image comics, you even get characters from other comics popping up there once in a while.
Yeah.
For example, Spawn and Batman and Spawn and Jackie have been together like in comics once in a while.
Right. And I think that Spawn in Mortal Kombat would make perfect sense. Like, to me, I'm like, you got it. That's you hit the nail on the head. He belongs there, you know? Superman in Mortal Kombat, you don't belong there, you know? It feels weird.
You're too much of a goody two shoe.
Right.
Just give me the evil Superman, and I will be like, okay, I understand him being here.
Right.
You have Batman who states that he doesn't kill people, and he's in the game where you kill people. It's like,
it's called Mortal Kombat.
Or give me Batman's dad, which actually kills people with guns.
Yeah, Thomas Wayne. Like, Thomas Wayne in Mortal Kombat makes more sense than Bruce Wayne in Mortal Kombat.
But what I was gonna say to Dareinger as well is this though. There was a time that DC actually did kill people. Thing is, the comics started to go like, okay, the rating,
Yes,
whatnot. So
the Comics Alliance, those guys.
They had to say, nope, we're gonna tame this down. But otherwise, things were dark.
Yeah.
Really.
I've worked as a comic book artist before, and a lot of the writers, their biggest complaint was the Comics Alliance. They're like, dude, these guys, they're trying to like purify comics so much that there's things that we can't get away with that are so tame, and it doesn't make any fucking sense. Like they would often say like, yeah, they want us to tone down the violence, and I understand, you know, like toning down the violence a little, but they're almost like, a lot of the times they're pushing to like, you know, we're gonna give you a really high rating, like a MA, if somebody like kicks somebody in the head and then drops an F-bomb on the same page and stuff like that. I was like, really? And they're like, yeah, no, like, so we gotta pick. Are we gonna curse, or are we gonna kick people in the head? And it just feels like those two things should go together, but then they get involved and they start, you know, shutting us down and all this crap. It's bad. So yeah.
Yeah. That's why manga is doing so much better.
Yeah, because manga doesn't care.
They don't care. They want to tell you the story. Here is the story. Here you go. And then they send threats to the mangaka like, hey, I don't like this because this guy is such a bad guy. Like My Hero Academia there with what's the name of that guy?
All for One? Or
no.
Overdrive, like the guy that melts people when he touches them, or like he disassembles them.
The guy, the dad, the one that was number 2 that is number 1 now.
The fire dude,
Endeavor.
Endeavor.
Yeah, Endeavor. People hated him.
Right.
People were like, "Oh, don't give him a redeeming saga," and I'm like, "The hell?
Yeah, really.
Give him a redeeming saga. That's what makes a hero a hero."
Right. Like, it's like what Parthenax from Skyrim says. Hey, what's best, to be born good, or through great effort overcome your own evil nature? And I'm like, oh, god damn it, if you didn't hit me with like the philosophical conundrum of the century.
That's quite a line right there.
Yeah, it's fucking great.
I killed Alduin with the one, like, the Daedric dagger that has a chance to just insta-kill whatever you hit. Just one-shot Alduin with it, and I was like, I am the greatest.
Sky in the chat says that she is all about Endeavor's redemption, and I'm right there with it. I want to see the bad guy become a good guy because it's just the good thing to do, you know? So I'm all for it. Whenever he kicked the ass of that Nomu while fighting in midair, I was like, yes. Ooh. I was like, no, new number one. I'm all for it. Let's go. And he's legit trying to be a good dad. I'm like, why do you guys hate this guy when he's trying to do good?
Yeah, he did wrong in his past. He's making up for it. His other son is being a whiny little bee.
He is.
To say the least.
Yeah.
And then the other one is like, no, Dad, let me help you with my ice and fire.
Hell yeah.
You finally embrace it now, son. Good. You should have embraced that a long time ago. Yeah. I was trying to train you for this shit.
Can't we just talk for like just a second, just to drop this in here? But like that fight of Midoriya versus Todoroki at that tournament was fucking the bomb. I was like, hell yeah, boy. I was like, let's go.
Yeah. That was quite a fight.
Yeah. All right, Dare, you ready for your number 2?
No. My number 2 is Pain and Suffering Simulator number 2.
Okay.
For real?
This is Dota 2.
I looked up earlier. I don't remember. It was I got on Dota just to see how many matches I've played, and it's 7,030 matches played.
Good God.
It's a love-hate relationship with this game.
It's like me and Overwatch.
It's a fun game.
Yeah.
It takes so long to learn how to play it though, and to actually get good at it takes even longer. Um, there's so many heroes to play, and the one thing that is like guaranteed with it is that no two games are going to be the same. Um, like I said, I've played 7,000 games of this, so I've had like really good games.
Mm-hmm.
I've had really bad games. I've had games where I've like sat and pulled hair out of my head because of frustration.
Oh,
It it's it's a mixed bag of peanuts, and there's just so much to do with it.
Yeah, it's it's on the same level of difficulty as League of Legends, isn't it?
League of Legends and Dota are they're the same game, but they're different. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people that are in either one community or the other, they'll like argue till they're blue in the face that their game is better because it's like a rivalry. But I've played the first list. I actually had the number 3 as League of Legends, um, but having played both of them for such a long time, like they're both, I would say, an equal difficulty level, but it's just learning one takes slightly longer than learning the other, and getting good at one takes slightly longer than getting good at the other.
Gotcha. And
so which one of the two would you actually learn quicker? Dota
League
or
League of Legends is more new player friendly than Dota because there's less mechanics that you have to learn and get used to. I would say that getting good at League is difficult, but like Dota 2 is just, you have to worry about little things like mischance and high ground and low ground and just ridiculous things that no game should be torturing people with. But I've endured 7,600 hours of this game, so
God help me.
the next, my number 1 game, the time I've spent on that is, I've got a screenshot for you. So
I'm
yeah,
scared.
7,600 is not that much in comparison.
I need to see the screenshot of that.
Same. So let's move on to the number ones because I mean I am curious now. All right, here we go. Number one for me. It's probably one of the games that I played the most, and I don't know how proud I am about that. But you know, like we're gonna go into it here. My number one favorite game is Lollipop Chainsaw. You played a
I
scantily clad cheerleader who's fighting zombies with a chainsaw.
Oh, it took me a second. I was like the lollipop, and I remember some other lollipop game. I was like, oh,
Yeah, like so you know it's kind of like Devil May Cry except you're like a really hot cheerleader. I'm kidding. My favorite one, my number one is Fire Emblem Three Houses.
holy
okay,
shit! You had me going for a second. I was like, well, all that talk
that
about
one caught
Fire
me off
Emblem.
guard. That caught me off guard because it's like, I would have never expected you to say chainsaw. It was just like, wow, Bard, that says a lot.
No,
It's not a bad game, but I mean, man, that says a lot.
I just like how you know whenever you enter into your like super mode, it just starts playing. Oh, Nikki, you're so fine. Uh, no, but seriously though, my number one pick is Fire Emblem Three Houses, and I've played this game a lot. I've played every difficulty there is. I've played every campaign that they have. I've had every one of like the 27 different main cast on my team at one point or another.
Whoa.
So like I've mastered like every character class there is. I've obtained every single battalion that they have available. I This game is so good it made me interested in the politics of their fictional realm. You see, like you gotta. I know I'm not interested in politics at all, but this game made me interested. I was like, well, of course, the people of Dagda have like hostility towards the people of Fodlan. I mean, Fodlan is some kind of like crazy country that just blocks off all barriers, and even though like there's the people of Almyra over to the west and stuff like that, you know, so I'm following their politics is how interested I was in this game. And the story was so good, like so very good. And there's technically 4 stories in this game because every campaign, depending on which way you start it, and one of them, which side you pick midway through the story, changes the ending that you get. So you know you have one for like the Golden Deer House. So you know with that one you get to find out about the foreign people of Almyra and Dagda and Brigid. And you know, as they compare to like the main continent that you're playing on, which is Fodlan, you have the Black Eagles who are like, we hate the church and we're gonna burn it down. You have like the Blue Lions, which is basically like, we are the purest Fodlan people, and we're gonna take our crazy PTSD suffering main character, and we're gonna make him king. So that one's like a huge redemption arc. Now, in the middle of the Black Eagles, you'll find out that the head of the Black Eagle House, Edelgard, wants to burn the church down because she hates the church. And it basically turns into like, okay, do you side with Edelgard or do you side with the church? And you can get 2 stories out of that one. So you know, like, you can go with Edelgard and help her take down the church, and you find out that the church has actually been run by immortals for like thousands of years, and that they've been like pulling the strings of all the politics in the continent so that they could control it.
Whoa.
And if you side with the church, you find out that the immortals really like were really kind and loved the people of Fodlan. But at one point, somebody, just like Edelgard, decided that they wanted more power, so they killed their mother, you know, like the goddess, and made weapons out of her bones. And these ultimate weapons, like, you know, like have been passed down through the houses of Fodlan for generations. As a matter of fact, a lot of your characters have those ultimate weapons as inheritances for their houses. And like whenever you find out that the sword of the creator that you've been using is actually the spine of the goddess, you're like, oh god, this puts everything in so much different context. So it's a really, really fun game, tactical RPG. Your characters can be customized in any number of different ways, and it's got a fun story. It'll drag you in. Every character is likable. Like, even if you think you hate a character, I thought I hated this one character called Cyril because he was such a simp. I really thought I hated Cyril. And then, like, later on in the game, you find out that Cyril's a fucking savage. And, like, you know, like, there's, like, people who, like, have personality. Like, you know, for example, there's a professor called Manuela. And Manuela is a drunk. And, you know, she gets into all kinds of trouble because she's a drunk. And, you know, everybody's just like, oh, no, Professor Manuela, you're okay. But Cyril's all like, yeah, you know what? Maybe if you didn't drink so much, you would have your life together, Manuela. And I'm like, holy shit, Cyril. We're all thinking it, but you're saying it. What the hell? So, you know, Cyril is a simp, but he's also a savage. So I was like, I thought I hated him, but I don't hate any characters in this game. That's false. I hate Leone, but the less I say about that, the better. So that's my number one.
No. I want to hear about how much you hate Leone.
Leone is in love with your dad, and she won't shut the fuck up about it. Like, the entire game, she's like, oh, Captain Gerald's so cool. Captain Gerald's amazing. I'm Captain Gerald's #1 student. Captain Gerald. I'm like, shut the fuck up, Leone. Like, you're
oh my.
You're like so much, you're like so on top of my dad. At this point, I should just start calling you mom. I mean, let's just be honest.
Oh man.
I'm like, this sucks.
So I got a question for both you and Dare then.
Okay.
So would you guys be making the Leone sandwich then?
I prefer only Jill sandwiches. Thank you.
But that's all I got to say. Fire Emblem Three Houses, fantastic game, excellent soundtrack. If you guys have time, look up the song called Between Heaven and Earth. Just absolute goddamn fire. I love that. The soundtrack in this game is just amazing. Cutscenes are a little weak, but that's about it.
Patience did ask if this would be your favorite Fire Emblem out of the all of them.
The only other one I've played is the remake of Fire Emblem 2 with Alm and Celica. The one that they remade for the what do you call it? 3DS. So comparing those two, yeah, I do prefer Three Houses over it. I have a couple of other ones that I haven't gotten to yet. I got the one for the GameCube where Ike is the main character. And I have one for the Game Boy Advance where Roy is the main character. I haven't played them yet, so I don't know. So just based off of what I've experienced, yeah, Three Houses is my favorite. I play Fire Emblem Heroes, which is the mobile game. I feel like that one's okay. You know, like I don't think it's great. It does have a story plot, a story campaign. The story's kind of out there. So between all of the ones that I have played, Three Houses is my favorite, yes. I hate Leone. Brother Gamma, what is your number one?
You just have to say it one more time.
I had to say it one more time. I hate her so much.
My number one game is the Legacy of Kain. So Legacy of Kain franchise, but I lean more towards the Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver.
Okay. Awesome. Legacy of Kain, kind of like a Castlevania type game, isn't it?
Yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
Think of gothic vampire stuff,
but
with actual good lore.
Okay.
Castlevania got lore, but this one, the lore on this one, it goes across time. And as much as I want to say, I want to say, hey, Soul Reaver 2 is the best one. No, I'm going to say Legacy of Kain Defiance is my favorite. For the sole purpose that you get to kill and see this absolutely deplorable person get killed in the scene.
Okay.
Which he was the whole reason why the strings were pulled for the whole dystopian future.
Oh, I see. So you get some real good comeuppance for this guy.
Yes.
Sweet.
When you play Legacy of Kain Blood, Legacy of Kain, the first one, stuff already happened.
Mm-hmm.
And that stuff you get to see how it happened on Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver, which is based on the dystopian future that Kain, your maker, created. Because he refused to sacrifice for the pillars that sustain Noscott. That's the name of the place that you're on. The pillars started decaying. The thing is, it didn't occur because of him. Stuff happened just as he was about to deny his sacrifice, which infected the other people that supported the pillar. They became infected. Oh man, the name, the Hilden. Oh, it took me a second because that name is some of the voice actors on this series.
Mm-hmm.
They had a problem pronouncing the name. The Hilden. They were behind everything on the background, unknown. They were like, you know what? We're just gonna wait for this thing. And the person that made you into a vampire, he made you into a vampire for one sole reason. Believing that you were the chosen one for the prophecy, which she found. But the thing is, there's two parts of the prophecy. There's a prophecy that Cain found, and there's a prophecy that you as Raziel find.
Okay, so
And,
is there like conflicting prophecies, and the guy was just like seeing one side of it? Is that right?
yep, one is the prophecy of the Hillbin, and the other one is the prophecy of just regular prophecy. Then the
Gotcha.
guy the one that you believe that is your savior, because you're gonna assume he's your savior on Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 1,
Mm.
because he brings you back to life. And that intro, that cinematic of Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 1 is amazing. You get your newly vampire wings ripped the hell off you right
Oh,
there,
yeah.
just as you appear to your creator, saying, "Hey, check out my new gift." He goes like, touches them, mews, and you go like, "Yeah, sweet wings, right?" And he just goes with his claws and rips them the hell off. Just
Dang.
just as you're in pain, he grabs you and tosses you to this freaking whirlpool. You are weak to water, so you're gonna be melting for thousands of years
Oh,
as
that
you
sucks.
reach the bottom. Your skin gone, your jaw gone. The only thing that you got in you is the whatchamacallit, the scarf of your clan, which Cain murdered.
Damn. I do have to ask you something, Brother Gamma.
Yeah,
Lipstick Lisa is intrigued in the game, so she's interested in Legacy of Kain. Where would you recommend to start?
Legacy of Cain, you can start on Soul Reaver. That one came out on the PS2,
Okay, so
and you best have that memory card ready, because you're gonna need it. I I got the game.
uh,
I I got a PS2. My
mm.
dad got me the game. Mind you, I'm playing it. La 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 la. I did not know about memory cards.
Oh,
First
that
PS.
sucks. Oh no.
Yes. First PS2. You get far and lovely, lovely lore, and then nighttime comes. Turn off your console. Oh,
You got to start from square one.
yes,
Oh, that sucks so much.
yes. It was so painful just starting over from scratch.
I,
Just just to find out on Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 1 that you're left on a cliffhanger.
oh no. I gotta be honest.
And
Whenever because like I had my Sega Genesis for the longest time, and I did. Whenever I finally got like a new gen console, it wasn't until the PlayStation 2. And because on the Sega Genesis, you never had to use a memory card, I had no idea what the hell a memory card was. So I ran into the same problem where I'm like, how the hell are you supposed to beat this game where every time you turn it off, it starts you from the beginning and it's supposed to be like 80 hours. Do I just like not turn the PS2 off? I don't get it.
yeah, it was just terrible. And then if you want to keep on going with the lore,
Mhm.
the one that saved you is the one that is actually pulling all the strings.
Oh.
Even though he's called an elder god,
Uh,
he is actually a parasite.
okay.
You heard me right. A giant octopus parasite that feeds on souls.
I love it.
And the whole fact that he's once King dead is because he's turning people into vampires and they do not die.
Hmm.
So he is starving. and and Cain keeps the humans in check, like, okay, here's a little area over here of cattle. We're gonna feed on you once in a while. Let's keep on mating, but we're gonna be feeding on you.
I see. So he's kind of like all right. So he's mitigating the amount of food that this elder entity is taking from him It's taken from the people. Oh, okay.
Exactly. And the thing is as well,
Mhm.
your whole brethren,
Mhm.
they evolve as time progressed.
Okay.
Some of them became so, so arrogant that they believe they got stronger than your creator,
Mhm.
Cain. Thing is, Cain was supposed to be the first one that got the new gift, but you actually surpassed Cain by having wings. But based on the prophecy, the Messiah
Mhm.
has wings, not any wings, broken wings. So that's why Cain ripped off your wings in order to fulfill that prophecy.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. I love it when that happens.
Yep.
I love it when
And when,
prophecies can be interpreted multiple different ways, but you find out like in an attempt, like something that you thought was one way at one point makes more sense whenever you read deeper into it. That is awesome.
and then it gets more interesting.
Mhm.
You come back to life. Thousands of years have passed. The whole place looks different. You
Mhm.
see your whole clan gone.
Mhm.
Don't want tear and non-existent. Then you get to Cain for the first time, and he just says, "What took you so long?" He's been expecting you since he threw you down that freaking cliff. Like, hey, come here. I gotta make this prophecy come true. He gives you what he assumes to be the killing blow
Mhm.
with the Soul Reaver. That weapon itself was forged by Janos Aldrun
Mhm.
thousands upon thousands years ago. He was the one of the original vampires,
Hell yeah. I love it.
which his heart is the one that turned Cain into a vampire, which he was human. He
Dang.
was human.
So it comes
He
full
was.
circle.
Oh yes, they've even got this whole thing like everything has a history, has a paradox, and as you play Soul Reaver 2, it gets interesting. You assume that you're escaping your fate. No, no, no. You're playing right into it.
Hell
And
yeah.
as Raziel, your newest power was that you got was not what you assumed, which was, hey, I'm gonna have wings. No, 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 no. Your newest gift was that you're actually gonna be Cain's right hand, as you always been all along. And Cain wields the Soul Reaver. And the Soul Reaver has been wanting to join with Raziel as one. Because once Cain give you the killing blow of with the Soul Reaver on the first meeting, the Soul Reaver breaks itself and becomes a symbiotic weapon with you. It imbues to you, and you can only wield the Soul Reaver when your health is maxed out. You get hit, you best find a way to get a weapon or get the health back.
Damn.
And since you're wielding the symbiotic weapon of the Soul Reaver, you are in turn the Soul Reaver, which you feed on souls. And as you kill your brethren, you feed on those souls of them and you get new power-ups. You get the ability to not be weak against water whenever you kill, I believe, Ahab, which unfortunately you never actually find Ahab. You find a clan, you find somebody that belongs to his clan,
Mhm.
and you get the ability to swim. No, no,
Okay.
no, no, no. Excuse me. That's actually the telekinetic one. It gives you the ability to throw telekinesis. Ahab, you actually do fight him, and he's a pain in the ass to fight. And mind you, all these graphics were on PS2, so things are looking mighty square. And this game is dark. You will spend hours, there's lore, and then you find out on the out later in the future that there wasn't supposed to be a Legacy of King 2
Mm.
and Defiance. It was all supposed to be one game. But since all that data didn't fit into one game, they had to break it down into two more games.
That is, I love that. Yes, I'm all about
If
it.
you if you want to see some voiceover,
Hmm.
they got outtakes on Soul Reaver 2, which shows the voice actors doing their lines. Simon Telperman, ooh, his voice as Kane, and he got some jokes. Even though he's the darkest one on the series, he got jokes on the outtakes, making fun, just joking around with the Elder God, which is an elderly gentleman. And he says, I've been expecting you, Kane. And Kane says, Yes, yes, I could see your excitement for me rising from your toga. And they just burst laughing.
Yes.
It's, it's hilarious. But I've been, I could ramble about this for hours, but I want to know what their number one game is.
Oh, we know what Dare's number one game is. He told us about it on the Discord, and I think Patience has guessed it already.
Yeah, she did.
She did. So
My number one is RuneScape. Um,
RuneScape.
it's a game that I started playing back in like 2002,
Mm-hmm.
and having said that, I've played it ever since. So I've accumulated over 13,000 hours of gameplay on it,
God.
and it's one of those games that they get updated like every week.
Mm-hmm.
So I've witnessed this game change over the past 20 some years now, and watching where it was when I started compared to where it is now, it's night and day. The game that I started playing back in like 2002 is not the game that I play today. And
Do
I don't
you?
think too many people can say that they've seen an evolution of a game like that.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I was gonna say, like, I know people who played like RuneScape Classic, and they don't like what it is now. How do you feel about that? Are you like more of the classic kind, or do you like the fact that it's evolved the way it has?
RuneScape Classic was good for nostalgia,
Mm.
um, which I mean, the game would have died if they didn't make changes to it and add more content to it. Some of the stuff that they actually have in RuneScape Classic, I think, is pretty cool, and I wish they would add it to uh, RuneScape. But I don't miss like the nostalgia was nice, but I don't miss the slow grinding for your levels on that. Uh, they've changed RuneScape now to where it's you can log in and get high level stats relatively quickly, and I love that because now you're not sitting killing spiders for 12 hours to get 2 levels.
Mm.
You're at level 99 within like maybe you can get a 99 within like a week,
Huh.
and then that allows you to go and complete higher level quests to get higher level items to higher level like prayers and spells, and you're able to do the high level content quicker, and that lets you play like the actual full game to its fullest extent quicker than having to sit in one area for hours upon hours to get a level to do that.
I do like that because one of the things that turns me off of Mamorg's massive multiplayer online RPGs is that I hate how long it takes for you to get anything good. Like, I tried playing World of Warcraft, and one of the biggest turnoffs is that I had to grind for hours and hours and days to get to any point where I was like, I'm legit good at this game. But in RuneScape, if you
Oh,
can do that within a week, I mean, that sounds like good progression for me.
Yeah,
like
and that's the old school community calls RuneScape 3 Easyscape because of how quickly you can level up and do things. But it's just like, why would you complain about faster XP rates when you can like go and fight one of the end game bosses and have fun trying to get that rare drop from the end game boss that's worth like 40 million gold or 400 million gold or whatever.
Exactly. Like I feel like that's such a non-argument because it's like, so wait, you're complaining that the game is letting you access all of its stuff a lot sooner?
And that's you get to the point where like where I'm at the maximum total levels.
Mhm.
So I have a couple quests that I need to complete, and I'm just too lazy to do them right now. But what I've been doing is they've got like I want to say like 1 or 2,000 some different achievements that you can do, and I've just been going and completing all the different achievements because there's little silly ones like make X amount of item and you get the achievement, and then there's interesting ones that there's one, it's you have to start in Port Tyrus, which is on the very far western part of the map, and you have to run all the way to Castle Draken, which is on the farthest east side of the map, and you have to go from point A to point B without using any kind of teleportation or third party methods, so no like boats or anything like that. And it's an achievement that takes like 30 minutes because there's that much land you have to traverse.
Nice.
And it like I said, I've played for 13,000 hours, so I could go on and on and on about it. But it's one of those games that like, everyone's heard of it, and there's so much to say. But
yeah. It's one of those games that's been around for a long, long time. It's got a great fan base, and it continues to thrive, despite the fact that it's been around forever, which is really good. It's definitely a hallmark of what every game aims to be.
yeah, because like if you can make a game that sells 100,000 copies within the first week, that good for you. If you can make a game that's around for 20 years and is continuously making you money, you're doing a lot better.
Yes, for sure.
Like paying for membership on this, like Jagex is making tons of money off of this game, and then they're making tons off of Old School, and it's just the people who are devoted to the game are devoted to the game. Like,
yep, I'm right there with you. I mean, like, especially whenever it's a continuous membership thing. Like, 'cause there's one thing to be said about, like, for example, like we mentioned League of Legends earlier, and one of my homies says that it's a free game. However, he spent money on like literally every legendary skin ever since he started playing back in 2011, I think. So I'm like, they have made thousands of dollars off of you. Let's not lie. But
with that, like it's free to play because you can technically unlock all the champions by playing the game, but you can also pay to get that little advantage to unlock the champion earlier and be able to play with them earlier.
Right.
With RuneScape, they've actually like since I started, the price of membership went from like $5.99, which Mom would never use her credit card, so we'd write a check and then send it to Cambridge, England.
Wow.
To get my membership. So it'd be like I would send the check out in mail, and then like a week later I would get my membership. But it went from $5.99, and it's now like $13 or something for membership.
Yeah.
But you can actually use in-game currency now to buy 2 weeks of membership.
What?
And if you play the game and know how to play the game well enough, and if you're at that high level content, you can easily make up the money to just keep funding your membership through playing the game. And a paywall, like there's I think 28 or 29 skills to train, and you can make money doing pretty much every single one of them. So like just training and being able to fund yourself through playing the game is something that I can like stand beside a lot. There's a lot of microtransactions, but I mean, if you don't mind them, they don't bother you, and if you don't use them, they don't bother you.
That sounds freaking amazing. I would love it if more games did that. They allowed you to pay your membership via in-game currency. I think that would be amazing.
Yes,
It's something that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, if you can make 40 million gold in the game, then I mean, 40 million gold is a lot easier to fork over than like $14-15 a month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. But that's I think that's it for our lists, and I am gonna have to close it up now because we have a storm happening right now, and my lights have flickered twice. So before we get cut off, just inadvertently, I want to thank everyone who showed up in the chat, and I want to thank you guys, Dare and Gamma, for hitting me with your favorite games. I'm definitely going to be looking into a lot of them that you guys have mentioned. Off the top of my head, To the Moon for sure.
I'll be mad if you don't.
Yes,
the moon.
I'm going to be checking out a lot of this stuff because you guys like really sold me on it. I'm going to start playing Neo also. So, I mean, just thank you guys for sharing your list with us. And thank you to everyone who was in the chat. I know Patience was there, PA, Sky, Cat, Pimp Demon showed up at one point. We had Comogram and Lipstick Lisa. So thank you guys for showing up and supporting the boys. Be sure to like and leave a comment. Tell us what your list is. We would love to hear it. But thank you so much for everything. And once you join the collective, you can leave Nevermore. Do you guys have any parting words?
Yeah, tonight is the Grave Matters 50th episode. It's a grave reunion. Come back at 8 p.m. CST, 9 p.m. EST. Join us for that. It should be a good show. Hopefully everything will be fine with Bard and his storm. And yeah, I really appreciate you being on here, Gamma and Bard. This was very fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's always fun to hear things that people are passionate about. Because,
oh yeah,
I mean, you can tell, like, when Gamma was talking Legacy of Kain, it's like
that is
this
his
dude
jam.
really fucking loves this game.
That is his
And
jam. I love it.
It's always great to have somebody who's passionate about something and tell you about that thing.
Yeah, agreed.
Because, and then Gamma, if you have anything.
Oh, it was a pleasure being here. If you guys would like to have me in the future, just feel free to contact me.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do an honorable mentions list next time, because I like Lollipop Chainsaw, and apparently people liked it in the chat too. So,
well, if you must know, I also do have Lollipop Chainsaw.
My honorable list: Dead or Alive, Beach Volleyball, Lollipop Chainsaw, Honey Pop 2.
And now we know that Bard's a degenerate.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.